Hey, this is Brett Gursky. Welcome to another episode of On the List. This is episode number 66. It's May 2021. We are coming to you from the BLEAV Podcast Network. My guests today are very good friends of mine who've worked together for a while now. They also happen to both be starring on two different TV shows at the same time. As of May 5th, all 13 episodes of her show, The Circle, are currently streaming on Netflix, and his new show, Unicorn Hunters, just premiered on Amazon Prime on May 10th. We first got to know him as one-fifth of one of the biggest boy bands of all time, NSYNC, and we first got to know her as his assistant. Of course, I'm talking about Lance Bass and Lisa DELCAMPO. What's up, guys?
Hi, Brett.
Hey.
Welcome. We are on Zoom right now, so the video from this podcast will be up on YouTube and Instagram. And you'll notice I'm wearing an On the List hoodie right now. That was sent to me by a company called Eat Sleep Tie Dye, and I loved it so much I asked them if we could sell some for charity. So if people go to eatsleeptiedye.com, they can order an On the List hoodie, and the proceeds go to Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation for Childhood Cancer, which is one of my favorite charities. And I've asked Eat Sleep Tie Dye to send stuff to both of you, so you'll be getting some surprises from them.
Yay!
So be on the lookout for that. And now I notice Lance has blue hair, Lisa has purple hair. Was this planned? Am I the only one not getting in on the trend?
Got to catch up with the trend, Brett.
Amazing.
Now, yeah, this is kind of, look, I'm doing a show called Unicorn Hunters, so we
Right.
have to do something.
Okay, I like it.
And I like to dye my hair once a year, at least once a year. And yeah, so I got the purple from
Nice.
my friends at Pravana.
Oh,
They're the
nice.
best.
Awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very bold statement.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, this is Lance's birthday month, May. His birthday is May 4th. My birthday is November 4th, so it's my half birthday when it's your birthday. That's why I know.
Oh,
That's how I know I'm 6 months away. And we're also both born, 1979, so it's exactly 6 months apart. And NSYNC is also, May is also NSYNC month because it's gonna be May.
You got a whole month now. It's great.
It's amazing. There's a lot to celebrate right now. It's perfect.
oh, and they have In Cinco de Mayo in May.
Oh, right.
So
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot to celebrate this month. So here's another fun fact. Lance and Lisa were two of the last people I was with the night before the world shut down last year. It was March 15th, 2020, Lisa's birthday, our last day of somewhat normalcy. I went to the Melrose Place Farmers Market that morning with Buddy. It seemed like a sort of normal day. Then we went to Lance's house that night for dinner for Lisa's birthday. Small group of us. We were playing games. We had Buca de Beppo, all you can eat as usual. And while we were there, we got the notifications that every, the stay-at-home order was going into effect. Every bar and restaurant was closing at midnight indefinitely. So you guys were like the last people that I was with in the old way of life. How weird has it been the last year? It's been crazy.
It has been nuts for sure. I think, trying to find the silver lining and everything that's happened the last year and a half
Yeah.
was hard at first, but now I think we're starting to see some good things that have come out of this, especially just the way that we work.
Yeah.
We realize that we're working way too much. Like, why are we doing this to ourselves when we can actually just be enjoying life more?
Right.
So that is definitely my new mindset now is, you can work hard, play hard, but give yourself a little break.
Yeah.
yeah.
And you can also work over Zoom. You don't have to commute all the time.
Yeah, a lot of time saved now.
A lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because living in LA, you spend so much time commuting to
Yeah,
things
exactly.
like meetings and interviews and all that.
Yeah, you can do 2 meetings in a day in Los Angeles and it'll take you 6 hours.
Right. Now you
So
can do
true.
6 back to back on Zoom. It's totally
Yeah.
different world. It's
And it's
amazing.
always like, oh, you have one meeting in Santa Monica at 4
Right. Oh,
and
yeah.
then you go to Silver Lake by 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're
And
like, that's not going to happen.
yeah, and you hope that they have parking to save time.
Yes.
Right.
But that last night, March 15th last year, it was me and Lance and Lisa and Michael, our friend Marnie, and also JC Chazé. So I kept thinking, like, no one's going to believe that I was with 2/5 of NSYNC the last normal day before the lockdown.
I know that is
Such
yeah.
a surreal moment. And so then the next morning we were quarantined for months and months and months. The last time I saw you guys was from a distance, socially distant at Marnie's drive-by birthday
Oh,
party.
right.
And that's it. I haven't seen you guys in person since, but I feel like from texting, I feel like I see you guys, but we really haven't seen each other in a while.
Well,
Wow.
yeah, and like, what happened to those drive-by birthdays? Those lasted like 2 months, and then people were like,
There was a lot of
"Yeah."
things that kind of just died
Right.
off.
Oh,
Yeah.
house party, that app house party.
Right.
That
Exactly.
fell off
Well, a lot
too.
of the novelty wore off quickly on a lot of things, but also, the birthdays came around again. So it was like, wait, we already did the drive-by. That's how
I
long it's
know,
been. It's been
I know.
14 months since that whole thing started. We've obviously come out the other side. We're all fully vaccinated, approaching summer 2021. Things are looking up. So, Lance, like I said, Lisa is your assistant, but you guys are now like the busiest boss assistant duo in Hollywood because how many people can say that their assistant is the star of the number one show on Netflix? I think you're the only one.
I think I am. I'll take that title. This is great.
How does that feel?
Wow. I'm so happy that she went outside of her comfort zone to do a show like this because this is so not her. But
Yeah.
I know that the world was going to fall in love with her,
Oh,
and they
thanks.
have. It's been really fun to watch, but she's still got to work though.
Yes, I do. I do.
Exactly.
I'm not leaving my day job. Don't worry. I enjoy my job. Like,
And you're good at it.
oh, well, thank
And
you.
that's
Yes,
what's been so rare. We've been together for over 15
over
years.
15 now.
And it's been great because she loves what she does. And
Yeah.
a lot of people when they're thinking about, hey, what's the next step? What can I do
Right.
to
They
get,
use it as a
I'm going
stepping
to be running
stone.
a
Right.
studio eventually. She's just been so happy, doing what she does. And it's been a godsend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought, like, honestly, when I started this job, like, I never thought of it as a stepping stone to something else. I'm a people pleaser. I like to take care of people. So
Yeah.
the job, it's like, it fits there. And it's like, he's a great boss,
Yeah.
like, when I want to go home to visit my family, he's like, go, it's just, it's a good match. Like, I would never do this job for anybody else, ever.
Right. And when you
Like
say I'm
that.
doing, yeah. When you say you're doing the circle, he says go.
Yeah, oh my God, he was more excited than me. He's like, go, go, you have
Oh,
to
I was
go.
Yeah.
so excited. I
We're
love
gonna
that
put,
people still try to get in my comment sections on TikTok, the people that you worked for that you won't name.
Oh, I know.
They're like,
I
just
know.
tell us who is it.
I know. Well, I can tell this story because I saw Beverly D'Angelo a couple weekends ago, and I
right.
worked for her briefly, and she was great. Like, we had
Yeah,
a
she's
great
not the
time.
bad one that she's
No,
talking
she's like,
about.
please tell me I wasn't the bad one. And I'm like, no, you were not the bad one. I knew that you were going to think that, and I meant to reach out to you, but she beat me to the punch. So, yeah, it wasn't Bev. Bev was amazing.
Wait, that's funny that there are people out there wondering if they were the bad one. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, I just Bev, the bad one probably knows if she like has heard this interview. She probably knows that she
I
was the
hope
bad
Jennifer Lopez ain't watching.
one. And no,
Just kidding, it's
I
not
never I
J-Lo.
never worked for JLo
Right.
ever.
On the record, never worked for JLo.
On the record, never worked for her. I did
Right.
call her a unicorn one time, and that was
Oh.
remember?
Oh yeah, I heard that story. That's right. Wait, so tell people how you became Lance's assistant to begin with. How did that happen?
Yes, God, I must have told this story about 100 times in 15 years. I worked for a PR company in Las Vegas, which the NSYNC used, and I brought him and his boyfriend at the time, but didn't know, and his boyfriend's super conservative dad to a
Uh,
show called Erotica. And it was like a top, it was so trashy and awful. It probably lasted a month. And so I'm bringing these people I don't know to this show, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Because it wasn't even my client. So I was filling in for a friend, and yeah, and then we became friends. And I think it was about 6, 7 months later, I got the job with him. So I moved
nice.
to LA. Yeah.
Were you looking for an assistant, or did you like Lisa so much you're like, I'm gonna make her my?
I was
No.
in between assistants at the time. It was kind of perfect timing. I needed help. We started talking in Vegas, loved her. And then, yeah, we're like, hey, you want to move down to LA? And she did.
I did.
Amazing. I love that.
It's
And then
true.
we met. So that was what year? 2006.
Yep.
Wait,
We
so
met.
we met the first year you were Lance's assistant because I've known you guys since 2006. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. So I've
Yeah.
known you guys the whole time almost you've known each other. Yeah.
Yes.
Three of
Yeah.
us met, to give people that backstory, three of us met in 2006, 15 years and counting. We've had a lot of laughs and parties and game nights since. We first met through a mutual friend, Jeff Bowler. I'd written a TV pilot called The Island, which was my OC in New York City. And Jeff Bowler said Lance Bass wants to make a show that's Beverly Hills 90210 in the Hamptons. Can I send it to him? And I was like, absolutely. You guys liked it so much. We had dinner at a restaurant called The Bridge, which became STK.
Yeah.
But Lisa, I remember at that dinner, you were like, I love this script. It's my favorite script. I am the audience for this show.
I
It was
am.
just so nice. And we've been friends ever since.
I still think we need to bring that show out.
Me
Yeah,
too.
we have
So,
to make that show. This was, by the way, before Gossip Girl.
yes,
We were
it
doing
was.
it first,
It was
but
before its time, for sure.
It was
for its
his
time.
life over
Oh yeah.
here.
Well, maybe we can make it happen. Listen, you're doing a lot these days. Maybe we could. Maybe the timing is finally right. There's always going to be a love of those teen dramas.
Dramas. Yeah,
Exactly. They're not
I
going anywhere. So Lance has been on this podcast before. He was on episode 10, and I interviewed him inside the actor studio. We went over his whole life story, everything you'd ever want to know about NSYNC. So we're not going to do that again today. If you want to hear that story, go back to episode 10 because we've covered it already. Lisa was there that day too. But let's talk about the things that have happened since you were last on. I was trying to think about the highlights of the years since the last time you were on. So first and foremost, you guys rescued Chip and Dale, who are there with you now. I got Buddy, who right on cue joined me on the
Hi, buddy.
he's a star. He just knew as soon as I
Yeah,
said.
he knows. He knows
Um,
it's you.
best thing I ever did, changed my life. My best friend, son, soulmate. He's been watching The Circle with me. I sent Lisa a picture of him watching The
Yes.
Circle. But I brought him over to your house to play with Chip and Dale, but he ends up spending the whole time kissing Lance and Michael. So he's a he's,
It happens.
it happens. Yeah, he's a very loving dog. But you guys are very involved in animal rescue. That's like your passion, right, Lance? Vanderpump Dogs, Humane
Yeah,
Society.
always loved animals and especially rescues. I can't even count how many rescues I've had in my life. But it's kind of like an evolving door of rescue dogs at this house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of Lisa's job too, helping take care of them, right?
That's
Oh,
such
I
a hard
love them.
job.
I know. That's my favorite part. I love
Yeah.
them so much.
Great. Yeah, and you guys are very passionate. I am too about rescuing. Another major milestone. Lance and Michael got married December 2014. Can you believe it's been almost 7 years?
I mean,
No,
it's insane how time is
insane.
flying.
Amazing. What do you remember most about that wedding? Because it was a blast. I was there.
Well, I mean, it flew by.
Yeah.
As the person getting married, you're just constantly, one conversation to the
Yes.
next, and I had one glass of champagne. I didn't get one bite of food, not
Wow.
even cake, except the ones that he put in my mouth. And then danced the night away, and then all of a sudden it was over. I'm like, what
Yeah.
happened? But I'm glad that we have great footage of it so that I
Yeah.
can relive it all the time because it was such a fun wedding. And I loved it because everyone was so engaged because I didn't allow any cell phones inside.
Right.
Ah, that
And
was
so
great.
everyone had to be engaged with each other. And I just saw so many great friendships being born at that wedding.
I had
Yeah,
the best time.
that was the best. Yeah, I'll tell some people some of my memories of it. It was at the Park Plaza Hotel in LA. It was filmed for an E special called Lance Loves Michael, the Lance Bass Wedding. Are you glad you did that, where you had E follow you and make a show out of it?
Yeah, I mean it took a while for me to say yes to it because I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's a kiss of death to any relationship. You're going to be divorced in 5 years. But then they kept saying things like, yeah, but it's history and this is for the greater good and it's the first gay wedding special in history.
Wow.
So we're like, well, crap, I guess we have to do this for the greater good.
Yeah, exactly.
But ultimately, I mean, my original idea, I wanted a smaller wedding. I mean, I wouldn't have mind on the beach, right? With just like our intimate circle. That would have been fine for me. But then we said yes to the special. I'm like, well, crap, I gotta really, deliver on this one because
Yeah.
at the first gay wedding special, you gotta impress people. So we tried, and I think we did.
You did deliver. You did.
Absolutely.
I just remember my memory from the wedding
Oh
is,
God.
oh my God, when a friend of
Chant.
ours was making a speech
I started that chant.
and the whole table that I was at, it was mostly guys. I think it was all of us and Christina Applegate, I think was at the table maybe.
That sounds
Anyway,
right.
you guys all started chanting Lisa, and I'm like, I don't want to make a speech. I had nothing prepared.
And
They
I
even
know,
asked me, and
oh,
I was like, I don't want
I
to.
already, yeah, I know she hates speeches, so I didn't even force her to do one, but y'all started that.
But it didn't feel right that Lisa wasn't making a speech, so I just started chanting, and everybody copied me, and
It
it
was
was the
so
loudest,
entertaining.
Lisa, Lisa. She got up there, she made a speech. It was actually really heartfelt, unplanned. It was a
It
really
was
good
Yeah,
speech.
because
great.
it was
And
unplanned.
one of the best memories of the night. So it was perfect.
I was like,
Exactly.
oh my God, I want to kill all of you.
Yeah. Well, I actually blame the all-you-can-drink moonshine bar on the chat.
Yes, that was you.
That was I wouldn't say a mistake, but I definitely didn't know that people were gonna have a reaction with that. I mean, it was moonshine, so very
Yes.
powerful stuff.
Yeah,
But there were all these flavors of apple pie and just really good
Right.
flavors. So
delicious.
everyone's drinking it like it's Kool-Aid, not realizing they're drinking 99 proof,
Yeah,
liquor.
Exactly.
So everyone had a really good time that night.
it was
Yeah.
so fun.
And there was actually, just like on Lisa's birthday, there was all-you-could-eat Buca de Beppo again.
Yes, exactly. And, yeah, Robert Earl is one of our good dear friends. He owns Planet Hollywood and
Yeah.
also Buca de Beppo. So his wedding gift to us was to cater our whole wedding, which was very sweet.
That's a
Yeah.
great gift.
Awesome. Yeah. And like you said, since E had the exclusive, we didn't have our phones. We couldn't take pictures or video or anything. So what I did was I got the photographer and I set up almost like a Disney World photo op where I was like, Lance and Michael are like Mickey and Minnie. If you want a picture with them, now's your chance. Get
Yeah.
between them. I got the photographer and we each got our photo with you for the night. But there was also a great photo booth. We took like family portraits. They're amazing.
That was a great, my favorite in the
Yeah.
photo booth. It's like the best picture. Well, there's two amazing pictures. One is Fortune Feimster
I love it.
scissoring with Carmen Electra.
Wow.
And then my other one is this gorgeous photo. They look so glamorous in it, but it's Gabourey Sidibe and Lisa Vanderpump, like
Wow.
doing this amazing pose on the couch,
Ooh,
and it's so chic looking. It's amazing, and they couldn't be more opposite people, right?
Right.
right.
It's just a beautiful photo.
That's so cool. Well, when you have a wedding in Hollywood with a lot of celebrities, they know how to work a photo booth.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
they do.
That's for sure. Yeah. And speaking of the
Love
guests, most of your NSYNC band members were there, and you had JC sing your first song, "I Can't Help Falling in Love." Just these great moments, and it was like it was made for TV, but it was also just great in real life. It was just so fun. I just can't believe it's been 7 years.
I
I
know.
can't, it
I
seems like
think
yesterday.
for our 10-year
Oh yeah,
anniversary, I think we do it again.
yeah,
This time I'll actually, really be more
Yeah.
present and enjoy it and take my time. Um,
Just no vow renewals. Those are also the kiss
no,
of
I
death.
don't like
uh,
vows.
Just a big
It's
party, a
yeah,
big
just an
anniversary
amazing
party.
anniversary party.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe E will cover the 10-year anniversary party.
This time, no cameras,
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Maybe we can all still drop our cell phones
Oh, okay.
which I think is the tradition we need to do. I think that's perfect.
and just
Yeah.
have a killer photo booth again, and then like we're good.
Let whatever happens happens. Yeah, that's a good
Oh,
idea.
I have an idea. How about we rent one of those boats that goes from the harbor to Catalina Island? And so it's like our own booze cruise. Again, no cell phones, all the way to Catalina, do
Wow.
something really fun and crazy in Catalina, and then like you ship on back.
Yeah,
All right.
everybody barfing on the boat because they're wasted.
Yeah, it's part of the story.
Everybody gets their party favor, their own pail.
Little barf bags.
Lance loves Michael.
Yes, yes, I love that.
Well, 3 years from now, I'll take you up on that. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Another milestone that happened in 2018. NSYNC got a star on the Walk of Fame in honor of NSYNC's 20th anniversary. To me, it's like star on the Walk of Fame, Oscars, Emmys, host Saturday Night Live. Like those are the milestones. And so it was April 30th, 2018, of course, because the next day it's going to be May, and it was in connection with the Dirty Pop Up on Hollywood Boulevard, which had all the NSYNC memorabilia, costumes, merchandise. I was there that day. What was that like, getting a star on the Walk of Fame? That would seem like just the coolest thing ever.
I mean, it's incredible because you grow up, watching those star ceremonies and seeing the old ones from the 50s, and it's just as any entertainer, that's kind of like the pinnacle, right? It's just be like, I want to be recognized one day for the work I've done with a
Yes.
star. It's so weird and stupid, but like it's just part of our industry.
Yeah,
So to get that, it was a crazy moment, and I couldn't help but think of myself at like 8 years old, watching that kind of stuff and
Yeah.
dreaming that I wonder if that could ever be possible, which never thought it was possible. But it was a
Awesome.
very special day, and the fans. it's just crazy how the NSYNC fans are still with us today.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, we were only a band for, 5 years. We have released music for 5 years, and the fact that 20 years later, the fans are still stick by us, it was an incredible, incredible day.
I mean, Hollywood Boulevard was filled. You couldn't fill it any more than it was.
No, and I hear that they had the biggest audience ever.
I believe
Like,
it.
Yeah, it broke the record for sure.
mhm,
Yeah, because it was all
Well,
about the dirty pop up.
yeah.
right.
That
And
was
right. It had an
The
experience.
line and the dedication of those fans, like some of them spent all day in line and then they couldn't go in the first day and they came back the next day
yeah.
to
Right.
have another opportunity to get in. I was like, that's amazing.
Oh
Like
yeah, I was getting texts from people like, Lance and Lisa, can you get me into this to skip the line?
And
I
I couldn't
know,
even get in.
I know. It was rough. It was hard.
Yeah. But it was cool. Yeah, we did eventually get in and it had, a little after party there and then an after party at Delilah. It was a really big celebration, really nice. All five of you were there for the star, obviously Lance, Justin Timberlake, JC Chazé, Joey Fatone, Chris Kirkpatrick. It was like the reunion everyone had been waiting for, since the TRL days. And so, do you think you would ever? I know you've said you would do a tour like Backstreet Boys and New Kids on the Block. Do you think it will eventually happen? It's got to, right? One day.
I mean, I don't know. It's so strange. I mean, we're all still so close. We all
Yeah.
talk weekly. So, there's always an opportunity for us to do it again. It's just we are so horrible at communication. Like it is bad. Like how bad
It's
it's
bad.
just to get a merch thing approved. It takes like
Right.
6 months for everyone to agree, and they're like, "Well, I don't know. I kind of like this picture more." It's like pulling teeth.
Right.
I mean, we're just those typical boys that can't make any decisions.
And five of them that
Yeah,
are all in
Right.
different places and
yeah.
like doing different things and one's super busy these couple days and he's super busy the next week. It's just it's hard to coordinate. I mean, you know what it's like to get a conference call
Oh
together.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, it's a
I
lot of
know.
moving parts.
But I would
Right.
have said probably, most likely no, but the pandemic kind of changed that. The pandemic, I feel like, kind of birthed this new I don't know, love for NSYNC for some reason, and especially with like a younger generation. So I think now, if there's any time to do something, it would be now because I think the world just needs
Right.
something fun,
Yeah.
nostalgic, and just positive right now. And I think that we can be that kind of positive thing for the world at this moment.
Yeah. And all the songs are popular again because of TikTok, right?
I know TikTok's making us like
I know.
it keeps putting our songs back in the top 100. It's
Yeah.
nuts.
You went viral with your bye 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 dance, right? Or your
Yeah,
no, your it's gonna be May. It's gonna be me.
yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think so.
It's so cool. Well, speaking of boy bands, in 2019, you produced a documentary called The Boy Band Con. Went to the premiere of that March 2019. It's now available to watch on YouTube. It was part of YouTube Originals. So, how did you get involved in that documentary? It's about Lou Pearlman, who was the one-time manager of both NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. He had created the two bands to almost compete with each other. How did you decide to finally tell such a personal story in that doc?
It was a story that I've always wanted to tell, but just didn't think I was going to tell it that quickly. Lou Pearlman died in prison a few years ago, and
Right.
that's when I started thinking, well, I mean, if there's a time to do it, now's the time. Like, I mean, there's a button to this story. And I was thinking scripted, right? I'm like, this is a perfect scripted show. This is an Oscar-winning role for someone.
Right.
And so I started kind of developing that way, and then found out there was 8 different Lou Pearlman projects being developed. I'm like, of course there are. And not one person knew Lou. Of all the producers that were trying to do this, like no one attached knew Lou Pearlman. I'm like, well, that's going to be horrible. So it was Pilgrim Studios who brought it to me and said, we're doing a documentary on his life. We really want you to help us executive produce this and make sure that we tell the story right. And I immediately jumped at the opportunity because I thought, okay, this will be great. This will be a great way because I'm a filmmaker, I'm a doc maker. I think this would be the perfect way to introduce everyone to this story, and probably will lead to a scripted show after that.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. We did the doc, and right now we have a series about Lou Pearlman that's going to be coming out 2022,
Wow.
Around
or
there,
maybe early
yes.
2023. I don't know. It depends on when we can film. but it's been so great, and I can't wait to announce the team behind it because it's an all-star team. I
Hmm.
mean, Oscar crazy cred behind it,
Wow.
amazing Emmy Award winning writers, and the person playing Lou Pearlman,
Hmm.
I never thought about it, and then when we cast him, holy crap, it's gonna be so perfect.
Wow. Well, feel free to announce it right now if you want to.
I wish they would kill me. They would kill me.
No, I'm kidding. I can't wait to find out. Well, for people who haven't seen the doc, what will they learn watching the boy band con that people never knew before?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a cautionary tale for anyone in the entertainment industry.
Hmm.
I only knew a third of the story because I was just a part of a third of his life. But Lou was a con man, and he had great ideas, and he was infectious in the way that he would like sell things, and he felt like family. But that's the cautionary tale: is the people that you think you can trust the most sometimes will stab you in the back, and you have to always kind of be watching out for that. And I was young, I was 16 when I signed my first contract with Lou, and I didn't know any better. We had a lawyer look at it, but then what happened was all the lawyer said was like, yeah, it's a music contract. They didn't tell me it was the worst music contract in history. So and that was Lou, as because he was the sixth member of NSYNC, and because he was the sixth member of NSYNC, that he wouldn't get a management commission, he wouldn't get all these other things, he would just get a cut of six, which ended up not being true at all. He took well over 80% of everything that we made.
Ugh.
So showing that con and how he repeated it over and over again with different groups was crazy. But the ultimate and what put him in prison was he enacted one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in American history there in Orlando, Florida, and it was just I don't understand how someone with any type of soul could do that to people, and
Yeah.
especially in this case, he bankrupted several retired people, just older
Mm.
people that they need this last money, for the last
Hmm.
years of their life, and he took it all and just
Yeah.
destroyed families.
And he used the success of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys to convince people to invest with him.
Exactly. Yeah, he would dangle the carrot of NSYNC or Backstreet and
Hmm.
be like, "Hey, you want the boys to do this? Well, you got to do this for me." So he was using and abusing our name to raise so much money illegally and just really fooling everyone.
Yeah, one of the most shocking parts of the documentary I remember is when he took you guys out to dinner to celebrate everyone getting their first check, and you opened the check, and everyone opened it at the same time, and it was for way less than you guys ever would have expected after touring and hit songs, and that is a very powerful part of the documentary. But everyone should check out the Boy Band Con on YouTube. Also, in 2019, in May 2019, Lance, you played yourself on the ABC sitcom Single Parents, and it was all about Lance Bass Space Camp because, as everyone knows, you
But not to performing arts.
right, exactly. You've wanted to be an astronaut your whole life. You almost went to space, so you got to act opposite Taran Killam, whose daughter on the show wants to go to Lance Bass Space Camp. What was that like when they came to you and they're like, "We're writing an episode about you having a space camp"?
I loved it. I try, I've played myself a lot in comedy type situations. So I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't want to play myself. Let's, let me play someone like myself, but let's put a different name, whatever. But then when they pitched the whole idea and I read the script, I'm like, okay,
it
this
has
is
to be.
this is some funny
Yeah,
shit right here.
it's clever.
Yeah, it was just very clever and
Mm.
just fun. And, working with that whole cast was great. And Taryn is just a rock star comedian,
Yeah, he's so funny.
and just made me feel so comfortable. And working with, because I did like 3 episodes, and, working with amazing directors, like Fred Savage.
Yeah, the best.
Yeah, it was a really fun experience, and I hate that that show is not going anymore because I fell in love with it. I never watched it before I was on it, but I became a huge fan
It was a
because
great show.
what was so good. I mean, everyone's great on it, but those kids, the
Yeah,
kids are excellent on that show.
yeah,
Hmm.
I liked it too.
Yes.
Maybe they can spin off just the Lance Bass Space Camp
Yeah,
into its
Oh,
own
that was so
sitcom.
fun.
That'd
yeah.
be
We're
cool.
actually
Kind of.
working on an animated version of
Oh, okay.
kind of like it's not that, but like we are working on an animated project using my whole Lance Bass in space weird shit.
But I like that. It's inspiring a whole new generation of, kids who want to
Yeah,
be astronauts when they grow up.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was so fun to watch you on that. Another memorable moment from 2019, we had a very epic New Year's Eve at Catch in New York City. I was thinking about that year. It was you, me, both of you, me, Michael, our friends Brittany Escato, Michael Kolb, Jillian, also Robin Thicke, Nicole Scherzinger, Snoop Dogg performed. That
Yeah,
was
Yeah,
Snoop Dogg just goes on like Snoop's performing.
I know
right.
that was wild.
That was like the last wild New Year's before, the pandemic hit. I haven't had a New Year's like that since, but maybe
Right.
next year it'll be back to normal.
Mhm.
And then the last thing that's happened that I would like to mention is you not only had your own radio show, Dirty Pop, for 5 years through 2016, which is where Lisa got the nickname Giggles as your sidekick. That was on Sirius XM. I would come on as the movie guru, talk about new movie releases, give my Oscar predictions. But from there, you spun it off into your own podcast called the Daily Popcast, which is now known as the Lance Bass Show, which I think it should have been that all along, everything. I feel like you've been
Well, we
building
wanted
up.
something different. We wanted to do one of the first daily podcasts.
Yeah.
And, because we love shows like The Daily.
Yeah.
And so we're like, all right, let's do the daily podcast, the entertainment news.
Yeah.
So, that's why we want to do that. And then once I wasn't able to do every day, I was like, all right, we got to go to the Lance Bass show because it's going to be a weekly show now.
Right. But how were you doing it every day? That was a long time. You guys had a daily podcast. Most people do them once a week, if that much.
Yeah, no, it's a chore, but it's my favorite medium.
Yeah.
I
You're such a
love
good
radio.
host. Yeah.
I love radio. It's the best. It's the most intimate, amazing experience with you and your audience is when you're in front of that microphone.
Yeah. And you fill a lot of airtime. It's a lot different than a TV show.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
fill in all the holes, or dead air is not fun on radio.
Well,
Right.
yeah, and but going from, you know, the daily podcast, which one was on Sirius?
That
Dirty
was
Pop.
Dirty Pop.
Okay, so that one was live,
Yeah.
Right.
5 days a week for 2 hours.
A day. Yeah.
That was intense.
That was taxing because a live show, I mean, every single night in these 2 hours, you have to be at the studio,
Right.
which it's not very conducive to our schedules a
Yeah.
lot. So, we had to, as long as I was with Sirius, I had to keep turning down some really great opportunities in television and film because I couldn't do it. So, I had to leave Sirius, a few years ago just to start these new endeavors of projects that I've been wanting to do forever.
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning of Dirty Pop, you were going to the studio, and then you finally put the studio in your basement, so to make it easier to get to work every day. Because you had.
I mean, it was crazy. The craziest schedule was the last year that we did it. I had moved back to New York,
Right.
and because I was doing the Meredith Vieira show as one of
Yeah.
her co-hosts there.
That's right.
And so every morning I would wake up at like 4 in the morning, and it's still in my pajamas. I would like walk to NBC Studios with my little coffee. We'd have our first meeting, then I have to go into another thing, and then we would like shoot a few shows. And then at 5 o'clock, we'd be done. And then I would have to walk to Sirius XM, which was right across the street, but I would take tunnels. So I never saw the sun in months. So walking to the studio, it was, nighttime. Coming back, it was nighttime. So I never was able to like see the sun for months during that.
Wow. Yeah. I remember, yeah, when you were on the panel for Meredith Vieira, and then now you have the Lance Bass Show. Do you think you could turn it into a TV show, the Lance Bass Show?
Well, I mean, we have been wanting to do that for 20 years. I've always wanted to be that kind of talk show host. And we started really kind of focusing on that, right after NSYNC was, ending. I was like, you know what? I would love to parlay into, talk show host. I love talking.
Yeah.
And that was before, that was right when Ellen was just, starting her show,
Right.
So I'm like, oh, that's exactly the type of show I want to do. 20 years later, we
Well,
still,
today she announced.
I know,
Today
and
she
now,
announced it.
Ellen
Didn't she?
leaving. I
Right.
mean, call me,
2022.
call me. I'll replace Ellen.
Yeah. You have 1 year to make that happen. Wow. Yeah. Well, so in the meantime, you're a panelist, judge, and it seems like the host, all three, on the new show Unicorn Hunters. I got to check out the first episode. So let's talk about Unicorn Hunters. It just premiered May 10th. People can watch it on unicornhunters.com or Amazon Prime. It's like a new twist on Shark Tank, which is one of my favorite shows ever, except unicorns are another name for billion-dollar businesses. So these are businesses that are already happening. So explain how the show Unicorn Hunters works and what it's all about.
Yeah, this definitely shows the kind of business nerd that I am. A lot of people, some people might not know that I love being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I love investment. And it's just been really, fun the last few years getting to learn more about business and investment.
Yeah.
So they asked me to join this panel, which is an incredible panel. So basically, Unicorn Hunters, we're searching for that next billion-dollar business. Shark Tank is all about the startup and the ideas, and you're like betting to see if this product would actually work in the world. These companies come to us already hundreds of millions, dollars valuation. It's pre-IPO, so they're about to go public, and this is their last fundraise before they go public, which
Wow.
is, and it's hard for new investors or investors that don't have the connections to hear about these companies because let's just face it, it's rigged for big investors. I mean, the small person gets really ousted with investment. But because of things like Robinhood and what we saw with GameStop, the public's finally realizing that they do have the power outside of Wall Street, and we want to put that power back into their hands. So this is the very first show that it democratizes the fundraise. And so you at home watching Unicorn Hunters, right there on unicornhunters.com, you can become one of the unicorn hunters. And
Amazing.
just like with $100, right? If you're a brand new investor, you're like a student that's like really wanting to learn, you take that $100 and you put it down on one of these companies that is presented, and we vet them out for everyone. It's you got Steve Wozniak, you have the who founded Apple, of course.
Right. Which is
You have
huge.
you have Rosie Rios, who, if you look in your pocket right now and open up any bill that you have of money, her signature's on it. She's the 43rd treasurer of the United States. You
Amazing.
have two vice presidents of the United States as CFO. Just some really great pedigree on the show, and you get to really hear us pick apart this company and hopefully encourage people to back like a really hot horse.
It's so cool.
It's a very positive show too, which I like. It's nothing negative. We're not tearing companies down
Right.
because again they're very successful. So
Right.
I don't know, for people that love to watch the drama on television, this definitely is not that. This is definitely a more educational and just the companies themselves. Listening to what they're doing, these companies are changing the world, and
Yeah.
about that that innovation.
Yeah, I found the first episode very educational. Actually, you do learn a lot, and right, you're not there to knock them down because they've already made it. So there's nothing to really criticize. So there's an expert panel, like you said. It's called the Circle of Money, not to be confused with Lisa's show, The Circle. But you mentioned Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, and that whole crew. You even have Mo Vela, who was the director of administration for Joe Biden. So explain how you ended up on the panel of experts. Because explain which companies you've invested in the last few years.
Yeah, Mo Vela is the one who actually it's Vea. I just found out by watching
Oh
the show.
man,
Mo
It's
Vea.
Movea.
Yeah. That's what they say
Okay.
on the show. I'm like, I've been calling him Mo Vela the whole time, but it's
me
Mo
too.
Vea.
Silent
Uh,
L.
I know Mo. I mean, I don't even know how we met, but for years I've known him. He took me to my first DNC when Hillary Clinton was nominated. So it
Right.
was my first experience in this kind of political world, which was intriguing. So we've always kept in touch, and he was always talking about this idea of doing this show because he wanted me to help produce it. I'm like, great. I was like, I don't have the time really, but sure, if you do it, I'll be on it for sure. And he got it sold, and he was like, all right, we're doing this. So he asked me to join, and it's been a master class, being around these guys um, and once you get to know these unicorn hunters, I mean, it is insane. One of the girls, Savina, she started She Works. She's, the most
Right.
incredible women empowerment, and what's great about this show is, for so many years, LGBT, women, people of color, they've all been disenfranchised when it comes to investment. So this really does even out the playing field, and everyone is welcome to the table. And the other guy that created it, Alex, he's this Russian guy that I can't even explain his background. Just read his book if you can. It is a movie like no other. And one little like byline is being kidnapped, thrown in a trunk, and driven to Siberia to die. Uh,
Wow.
like Putin was after him for years, and Putin is still after him. I feel a little
Oh,
uneasy sitting next to him sometimes, knowing
yeah,
that that Putin just wants him dead. So yeah,
that's
yeah, it's
scary.
pretty dramatic.
Yeah, that adds a whole other layer to unicorn hunters. But yeah, Alex is the CEO of a company called Transparent Business, and so that's how he came to his wealth.
In fact,
So
he made his first billion by at 23 years old. When he lived in Russia, right when communism fell, he was given the first bank for international banking. So he owned the biggest international bank in Russia, and I mean, so he was royalty. But again, Putin didn't like that and wanted that back.
wow, there's the
Yeah.
drama. If people are looking for the drama on the show,
Yeah.
Oh,
how many episodes have you guys done so far?
we shot 6 for this season, and second season will be 12 episodes. We start shooting that in September.
Okay, well, I might be texting you on the side asking which companies I should invest in. Get your
Oh,
insights.
well, I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these for
That's
sure.
true.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up investing in pretty much all of them.
Wow, that's cool. That's awesome. So, what other investments have you done? We know you own the bar Rocco's in LA.
Yeah, we got Rocco's Sports Bar, which is great. We're opening up the club across the street, the old
Right,
Rage.
right.
That's going to be the craziest Studio 54 discotheque that, I mean, we haven't seen that in decades here.
No.
Wow.
So I'm excited about that. And then
Roaring 20s are back.
Roaring Twenties are
Yes.
definitely back. And then I joined a fund that Aaron Rodgers started. So we do a lot of direct to consumer type products like Hydro, Nom Nom, the dog food. I also invested, I was an early investor with Paris Hilton on it's called Good Catch, which is the vegan seafood.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's like the Impossible Burger, but with seafood.
Yeah.
Um,
Cameo.
Cameo, I was an early investor in, which I
Oh,
think
okay.
just when I heard about that, I'm like, okay, I have to be a part of this. This is such a brilliant idea.
Yeah,
Hmm.
by the way, you were the first person I ever saw post about Cameo, and then I met Martin Blanco, who's one of the people who started it at the Mammoth Film Festival, and I've been working with him for a few years, getting all our friends on it. But yeah, as soon as he told me about it, I was like, it's a no-brainer because people ask everyone to make videos anyway. This is a way to control it because it would get out of control if you just
Well,
Yeah.
it's so great. It's the best communication I've ever had with the fans. It's all so positive. And yeah, every day you get asked 5 times a day, will you do a birthday video for them? Will you do a birthday? And this just organizes it. It gives
yeah,
you a script of exactly
Hmm.
what they want you to say.
It's
yeah,
brilliant.
And it's great. And I use my Cameo, and a lot of celebrities do, which I love. But I use my Cameo money to be able to donate to all kinds of different charities. So it's
yeah.
such a great fundraiser.
Yeah, but you've always been great with that. Anytime I've needed videos, for birthdays, you've always been cool enough to do that. And now
Well,
Yeah.
Lisa, you're on Cameo now too, since you're a star of the Circle. What's that been like getting Cameo requests for yourself?
well, it's so hard. I have a newfound respect for his job because it took me 25 times to do one. I'm just not, it's just very unnatural for me. You know what I mean? Like where he nails it like,
I feel like
Oh,
Lance, I feel like
oh,
you do 60 an hour or something like
I mean,
that.
he does so many. It's
I
insane.
do a lot, but I've gotten so good at it because to me, like this platform is about shout outs, right? So it
Yeah.
should be, 45 seconds to a minute, right? Just like quick, boom, this is what you want me to say. A lot of people and a lot of the Cameo talent, and the majority of them are a lot, reality people, people that are just kind of, getting famous.
Right.
They a lot of the times will sit there and just for 5 minutes talk to the person, and it's so awkward. You're just like, oh,
Right.
get to the point. But a lot of them feel that, okay, if you're going to pay me for this, I'm going to give you like a big 5 minute response. But a lot of
Right.
the time it's like, "Ugh, okay, just give a shout out. It's so
Stick
much
to the script.
better.
Yes, yes,
Um,
it's a lot. But
Or what's her name? Teresa from Housewives of New Jersey.
Judice,
Oh my gosh, her cameos are painful. I
really?
mean, I'm sure the people ordering it love it, but like it's like she's not even doing it. She'd be like, "Gee, yeah, blah blah blah," just living her life. Oh, and just going back to the cameo. I mean, you just get like a very, quick glimpse of her life every time she
Yeah,
does.
That's
yeah.
so funny. Well, with Rocco's, are you opening more around the country? Wasn't that the plan pre-pandemic?
Yeah, we're definitely going to be franchising it all over the country. Now that we got Rage across the street, we're really focusing on that. That should be open by the end of the summer. And then when that's open, Palm Springs is next.
Wow.
And then looks like Fort Lauderdale will be after that.
That's so cool. Nice. And I heard that Britney Spears told you to invest in Uber when it first started. Is it?
Yeah. Her and her ex Jason, we were at dinner with him.
Dinner,
That's when I
yeah.
first heard about it. And I remember, he was talking about it, and I'm like, this sounds really cool. But at that point, I didn't invest really at all.
Right.
Like I was such a newbie, so I would have been so scared to be like put all this money behind an
Oh,
idea. But now I'm kicking myself. I'm like,
yeah.
Dad, I knew that was going to disrupt the whole industry. I
Oh,
just wish I would have had the balls to do it. But they were smart. They were very
wow.
smart.
That made people multi millionaires. I remember just hearing about it and I was like, I don't think I'll use Uber. I don't think I'll get in the back of a stranger's car. And then I started using it every night.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm like,
Yeah.
look at you now.
Changed
I have to say,
everything.
it has gotten crappy the last few months.
Maybe.
Whew,
I haven't really used it since the pandemic.
it's bad. It's I guess the drivers aren't getting paid much, and I think that law didn't pass where you had to pay them a living wage,
Yeah.
and you can tell because deliveries don't get delivered. They cancel all the time. There's
Wow.
hardly any cars available. The prices have spiked so much. So yeah, they're having a problem right now, but hopefully they'll bring it back.
Yeah, I think the whole world needs to get back to normal and then everything will fall back into place, hopefully. So Unicorn Hunters will air new episodes every Monday, right?
I think so, yeah.
The next few weeks. And then there was just a project announced on Deadline today called Bedtime Stories of the Ingleside Inn. I have to ask you about that since it was literally just announced. It's a scripted podcast based on the memoir of Melvin Haber, who owned Melvin's restaurant in Palm Springs. You love Palm Springs. Tell me about that. It's being produced by Lance Bass Productions.
Yeah, this is a show I've been trying to sell for over 15 years.
Wow. Oh, like
Yeah,
the island. So
just like the
Yes.
island. Yeah,
maybe
so
there's hope.
it can happen. This was such a random one because it's one of my favorite projects. It's a true story about the Ingleside Inn there in Palm Springs, this boutique hotel that, was big in the 50s. And then, Palm Springs always does this, like it's big and then it's like shitty. But this starts where he buys the hotel in the early 70s. And he is such a character. Mel Haber is the best storyteller I've ever heard in my
Ever.
entire life.
Wow.
You go to Melvin's, the restaurant there, and we'll have a dinner for 7 hours. And he's just telling stories of Frank Sinatra and just, I mean, because he's such I want to say star effer. Can I say effer on
Sure.
here? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. But he loved the celebrity world, right?
But like
And
in the best
yeah,
way,
and Frank Sinatra was like his whale. If he could get that, and I won't tell you the story, but he eventually gets him. But it just through a comedy of errors, it it became the biggest hotel on the West Coast. Like it was the most famous and legendary place. You had to stay there. And every celebrity did. Elizabeth Taylor, you name it, that was their playground, and that's where they would hide out. Good Lord.
So the scripted podcast is going to tell his stories from his memoir
Yeah, so Jason Alexander's, playing Mel,
from
and
Seinfeld.
he's
Huge.
he's so what a lovely guy to work with.
I
Just
mean,
such a pro. He really got Mel's character. We turned a little more comedy, of course, because it's Jason Alexander.
yeah.
But it's really an ode to Palm Springs at that time. Music, 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 and that's why I was excited to do this with Audio Up, which is Jared Goodstadt and his Audio Up. They do all these incredible podcasts now, and
Right.
and these what do you call them? Radio plays is what's blowing up right now,
yes.
and it is so great because it's this immersive show that you listen to with sound effects and all that and the music, and you're inside the Ingleside Inn listening to these actors.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
what's great about it is now we have the whole first season done, and now we have a whole first season to take to Netflix or Hulu or any network and be like, here's the show. We already you can listen to it right here, and so I think it'll be an easier sell now.
Wow, that's so cool. What a great idea. And so you're going to you voiced some of the characters or one of the characters?
Yeah, I play a character. Of course, I was originally going to be we have a crooner, like this lounge singer that originally was kind of telling the story of the Ingleside Inn, and it's he's true. So I was going to do that. That will be someone else way cooler. So I fired myself from that role, and and now I'm playing the older gay guy.
Okay.
God, that's
So
amazing.
it's you. It's
Yeah,
you.
so like,
Okay.
'cause one of the main characters is this kind of younger gay guy that's,
Okay.
closeted in the 70s, and I'm kind of the older gay guy that introduces him to the gay world of Palm Springs, Liberace and that whole world.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
gonna be interesting. So it's an acting job, basically.
Yeah.
So it's you, Jason Alexander, Richard Kind, who I love, Michael McKean. That's gonna be fun. So when does that come out? Do you know yet?
Iconic. Well, we haven't finished recording it yet, so hopefully I would see it coming out July-ish. I would hope like towards, mid or late summer.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Another article came out today. It was the cover story of Variety. It's an interview with Colton Underwood, who was The Bachelor, who just came out. You came out on People Magazine back in 2006. Can you believe that this is still a cover story 15 years later? Because you're mentioned in the article.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, I can see why it's still a story, especially with that background. I mean, it's kind of similar to mine, where it's just so interesting that someone with a 90%, female audience, right? And it's all about love, is gay. I mean, that's still, it's still a story. And, everyone loves a good coming out story and seeing people's journeys. And his is just as good as anyone else's journey. I relate to a lot of the things that he grew up with, and the reasons why he stayed closeted so long. And I wish him the best of luck. I hope the best advice I can give him is, because our community is very fickle, and they don't. One of the big downfalls about his coming out story, and it's not even his fault, is he's just another privileged white guy, that we
Mm.
get to see this coming out story. And we've seen that so many times, like myself. Uh, and I think the community's like, can we, have more variety of the stories that we tell of our community of people coming out? And, and I understand that, but also you can't ignore how big that coming out is. I mean, he's, Bachelor franchise, royalty.
Right.
And so I hope he does the right thing, and just, you got to sit back, you got to listen to the community. It's a brand new experience for him. So I know he probably doesn't think he's going to be leading the charge and, doing all the parades and everything. I think he's going to like sit back and listen and learn about what's going on, and educate himself, and hopefully will be a great part of the community in the future.
Yeah, it's an interesting parallel you make, actually, that you came from the boy band world with mostly female fans, and he came from the Bachelor world with mostly female fans, and it's an unexpected, person coming out, I guess. But in the article, they mentioned you because they said that Dancing with the Stars still hasn't had a same-sex dance couple. So the quote is, when Lance Bass, who is openly gay, appeared on the program in 2008, he was paired with a female partner. Are you surprised that hasn't changed since 2008?
I am surprised because I think it would be fun to watch. Personally, I'm glad that, I mean, yes, for the greater good, like always, it would have been great to be the first couple to have a male partner.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed having the female partner because it's just with ballroom and learning ballroom, it's just easier, when you
Yeah.
have that female partner. With two guys, it's, who's leading where. So it's a whole different way of looking at ballroom. And I was not prepared for that at all. So I'm glad that I got to do that. And I don't know. I mean, there's tons of gay ballroom dancers out there that dance with their female partners.
Right. Well, maybe that'll change. Maybe they'll have you back on Dancing with the Stars.
I probably would not do it again, but yeah, I mean, it would be fun to watch. I feel like, didn't Dance with the Stars in England do it already?
Oh, I don't know.
I think someone has already done it in the franchise, so it's
Okay.
possible, and it probably coming here. Yeah.
Yeah, times are changing. Okay, so now we have to talk about Lisa being on the number one show on Netflix, which only goes into 200 million homes. No big
That's
deal.
crazy.
It's been number one for weeks since it debuted. Season two premiered Wednesday, April 14th, with the first four episodes. Then they rolled it out every Wednesday for 4 weeks. The 13th episode, the finale, aired May 5th. In the course of those 4 weeks, Lisa became a celebrity in her own right. Lance, what has that been like that the celebrity assistant became a celebrity?
I mean, I think it's great. I love how the world has reacted to her. It's been
Yeah.
so much fun on social media to kind of have fun with the fans. And what's great about it is I got to do the show without having to do the show.
Right.
I mean, she had to quarantine for 2 weeks and all that, and I got to sit here all pretty at the house. And so it made me look really great. And especially because, The Circle, I would say, has a younger fan base.
Right.
And most of these people watching The Circle, they don't know who NSYNC is. They might have heard of it, but they don't know the music or
They
even
don't
me.
know.
So this was a really good introduction for myself to this younger generation, and I'm feeling it, especially on TikTok. I feel that these kids are like, it's Lance from The Circle. Like, they're just so excited.
All you've done in your life, and you're now
I know,
Lance.
it's
I
like
know,
The
the
Circle, yeah.
circle. That's hilarious.
Which you weren't even really on. Lisa was catfishing the other contestants as you. So first of all, I have to say, one of the last parties that we all went to together before the lockdown, early March 2020, was Lisa's birthday party, the big one at Rocco's. And it was a joint birthday party with our friend Brittany. It was at the bar Lance owns. The place was packed. Thankfully, nobody got COVID. It was about a week before. But the theme was dress as your favorite movie character. I went as Marty McFly. Lance went as Tom Cruise from Top Gun Maverick. Lisa was Princess Poppy from Trolls. Who knew that she would get cast on a show as Princess Poppy? Because the casting director from The Circle just happened to be at your birthday party. And how did that come up in conversation? Were you and Lance were fans of The Circle?
Well, yeah, he wasn't there at the beginning of the conversation, but I was talking to our mutual friend, me and the casting directors, about like reality TV because I love reality TV. And I was like, yeah, the only show I would ever go on is The Circle. And he was like, oh, he cast The Circle. And I was like, what? He's like, well, you would really go on? And I was like, absolutely. And then Lance came over and he was like, oh my God, she's got to be on The
It's
Circle.
like, she's got to do this.
So you guys were fans of season one. Did you watch it together?
And the British version.
And the British version, yeah.
Wow. And so whose idea was it for you to go on as Lance? Was that Lance's idea?
Yes, it was kind of a culmination. Like the producers asked me would I ever be, think about playing Lance, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll play whoever, but myself would obviously have been easier. But then he was like, yes, play as me. That'd be
really
amazing.
encouraged her to do
Yeah.
that because I just thought it would be just better television.
Yeah.
It's just way more fun. And if anyone can play me, it's
me.
her. So I think it'd just be really fun.
As she
Yes.
said in her intro video, as you said in the intro video, I know Lance Bass better than Lance Bass knows Lance Bass.
Yeah, everybody really liked
It's
that
true.
quote.
Except there was a couple of things that I would have never have said.
Right.
I know,
So Lance, tell me what it was like watching Lisa play. How did she do?
I thought she did great. There was a couple of things that I'm like, oh no, we already went through this question. The big one was, what are you going to do with the $100,000 if you win, Lance? And the answer is
I would use it for an NSYNC reunion.
no. The answer should have been
Puppies. I would
puppy
use it.
charities.
Puppy
Yeah,
charity.
rescue.
I know,
Done.
and I went with it's a long story.
You were making a joke.
She was making a joke, but
was-
they didn't take it as a joke.
And I didn't
Seriously.
put joking emojis. Like I should have put like the laughing, crying emoji.
Well, I think you were thinking like people who know Lance would know that that's a joke, that he would use the money for an NSYNC tour.
Right.
But they're
100,000.
reading it without hearing you say it. So yeah, it didn't translate maybe.
No, it did not translate.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, and all you need is that one little,
Yep.
mistrust for them to go
Right.
after you and like
Yes.
get you out.
Right.
Yeah.
But Lance, was it fun to watch, first of all, Lisa on a reality show, but even more playing you?
Oh, it was incredible. It was
How
so
fun.
much fun. And because, those things, they could produce you in a different way to make you look kind of crappy. They made me look really good. And you made me look really good. Like, it was a great EPK package of what's happening in my life. So I was very happy with the way they presented me on the show.
See, look at that. Lisa's still always doing her job, making you look good.
That's her PR background. She knows what she's doing.
Even when she goes on a reality show as herself. Okay, so Lance has to step out for a meeting, but Lisa, you and I are going to continue our conversation
Yes.
about The Circle. So you said you're a fan of reality TV. You and Michael do Reality Roundup, the podcast, which is a spinoff of, the Daily Popcast and the Lance Bass show. So what was it about The Circle that you were like, I could do that, as opposed to like Big Brother, which we're big fans of?
Well, two things. No physical competitions in The Circle. So it's just I'm not known for my strength and endurance. So like Big Brother, maybe in my 20s I could have done it, but not now. And also like with Big Brother, you're potentially gone for 3 months.
True.
This was, I mean, I was gone a month in total, but yeah, and it just looked fun and it was different and fresh and like I don't know, it just seemed like the perfect show for me.
Yeah, that's kind of cool that there was finally a show where you're like, this is the one
This
that
is the
I
one.
can
I
do.
knew it. I was like, if I'm ever gonna do it, this is it.
Yeah, but like Big Brother, you're filmed 24/7. I mean,
Yes.
do you think now you could do Big Brother now that you've done the circle, or still no?
No, because you still have to do physical
Physical.
and endurance competitions.
Yeah.
But with the circle, you're not really filmed 24/7. Like your cameras go off when you're sleeping. Like they never film you sleeping. Well,
Okay.
it's never shown anyway. It
Right.
might be, but it's never shown. And like you have to wear your mics all the time, but not like Big Brother where you have to wear them literally all the time or they're like, put it back on.
Right. Well, you're not
Like
talking to anyone because you're alone in the apartment.
right. And there's like, you kind of have filming hours, they would change every day, but like they would tell you, like, okay, put your mic on, we're going to be shooting this and this and this. And then you could take it off, like, let's say 11 p.m. one night and then go to sleep. So
Right.
yeah, that was a big difference. And like, we could read in there. Like I had books, you could do puzzles, you could do things like Big Brother, you have chess. Like
Right.
but you also have people to talk to. So, yeah.
Right. I think Big Brother, you're only allowed to bring in a Bible and that's it.
So
So
it's like
it would be
this.
hard to read that.
I read
Right.
like a crazy person. So,
Yeah. Well, I do have to say before we move on to the circle, Big Brother, you, me, and Lance are super fans of Big Brother. And do you remember how you guys found out I was a Big Brother fan? Do you remember?
no,
You
I don't
guys
even.
were watching the Big Brother 10 finale and I was sitting front row.
Oh my God, yes.
And you
You
guys
go
texted.
all the time.
I used to go, yeah, but I didn't, make a big deal out of it. Big Brother was like my, secret guilty pleasure. And then I went to the season 10 finale. They put me in the front row behind Julie Chen, and you and Lance texted me, and you were like, "Wait, are you a Big Brother fan? Because you're front row at the finale, and we love Big Brother." And then the
Wow.
next time the three of us went to lunch, we talked about Big Brother the whole time to the point that we, became super fans. But we talked about this on episode 10 with Lance, but we also had a simulated Big Brother
Oh,
weekend at Lance's house. But that was good practice for the circle almost because we did an entire season of Big Brother with this company Reality Rush in the
in
course
a
of a
weekend.
weekend. Yeah. So, what could you tell people about that weekend that we had?
Oh my God, it was so much fun. It was literally like how many people? Like 14 of us?
Yeah, at
I don't
least. Yeah.
remember. And you couldn't play because you had a wedding.
I had right, so I was devastated because I had to go to a wedding, so I couldn't play because you weren't allowed to leave and come back. I only had to leave Saturday night for the wedding and come back, but I ended up hanging out and being the videographer. So I filmed
Yes.
everybody's diary room sessions. Which, by the way, we have all that footage we've never done anything with. We
You
should
never edited it.
we should
Yes.
send it to an editor or something. But it
Oh,
was you and Lance and Michael and Jamie Sigler and Cutter Dykstra, who they had just started dating. That's the first time we all met Cutter. Now they're married with two kids. It
Sarah
was Sarah
Paxton.
Paxton and Zach Kreger. It was a whole group. And we had Dan Giesling, who was
Yeah.
on Big Brother 10, who won that night. I was in the audience. He and his wife, Chelsea, flew out from Michigan and played with us. So I remember waking up in the morning at Lance's house, hearing Dan Giesling talk, and I was like, am I playing Big Brother? And do I hear Dan Giesling, like the best player of all time? Like, it was an
Yeah.
amazing experience. Cutter ended up making it to the final two with Sarah Paxton. Sarah
Yep.
Paxton won. We had Jeff Schroeder from Big Brother 11 host a competition. We had Mike Boogie from Big Brother 2 host a competition. Like, it was just such an
Rachel,
amazing
didn't Rachel and Brendan like zoom or not zoom in,
sent the
but they
video.
videoed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just think it was so cool and it was kind of all of us being like we love reality competitions, not knowing that one day one of us, you, would be on one on the
No.
biggest streaming platform ever.
Yeah.
So tell me about your experience on the circle. Was it everything you dreamed it would be? Was it more?
It was amazing. I had a great time, a great experience.
Yeah.
Like I said, the production team was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it because I like my alone time. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, as much as I'm a social butterfly, I'm also a bit of an introvert. Like I love reading by myself. I love just quiet, you know? And so this was like perfect for me. I was like, do puzzles and which wasn't my favorite, but whatever. Read. Um, yeah, I had a great time. It was And you do have people to talk to, like producers, like, you have a morning producer and a night producer. So I had like people to talk to that I
Yeah.
didn't see. But yeah, I loved it. I had a great
Well,
experience.
tell me about the audition process because you met Raphael at your birthday party, and
Mhm.
then tell me what happened between meeting Raphael at your birthday party to entering the circle.
So that was like March. And then he was like, okay, well, we're not fully casting it, especially when the pandemic came too.
Right.
It's like the pandemic came, so that really kind of threw everything off. So I
Yeah.
didn't do anything in person. It was all via Zoom or video. So then you have to do like a taped audition, like kind of explaining your strategy and like who I was playing and like all that stuff. You had to get so many pictures and videos together. So that was like rough and organize them into albums. You had to do that.
They
You have
must have
a
been excited that it was Lance that you were playing because it gave them
yeah.
kind of a celebrity angle that they didn't
Mhm.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so you did that. You had a psychological evaluation, like a questionnaire that was super extensive because they have to make sure that like you're not going to go stir crazy in there.
Right.
Like some
Right.
people can't handle that. And there were a few times in like the mandatory quarantine when you get to England that I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like that it was probably like days 5 and 6. And then I would get like a second wind and I'm like, no, it's fine. I got this. It's okay. So you do that. I feel like there was several. Oh, you do Zooms with therapists, so
Wow.
that you can like talk. I mean, they are really good about self-care, mental health, like all that kind of stuff. You
Right.
always had like in the circle and in quarantine access to a therapist if you needed somebody to talk to. They would
Wow.
check up on you every other day, I think it was.
Right.
So that was
It's
that
kind of
was
nice to get a free psych eval. You're
yeah.
doing okay.
I'm like, I know I'm crazy. Oh, background check. They do a background, like an extensive background check.
Well, you
And
have
I
nothing bad in your background. You're not.
no, I don't. But they screenshot like some of your social media, and one of my friends in a photo was like flipping off the camera, and that was like flagged.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were, but I only had three things, and they were never me. It was like, pictures and stuff. So
Right.
I deleted those, yeah. And then you make another tape, I want to say, and then you Zoom with producer, or you Zoom maybe with the casting team, then you Zoom with producers. So it's extensive. Like,
Expensive. Wow.
you have to do a lot of things. And then I got the call,
What was
and
that like? What did that feel like?
I was like, oh my God, really? You're picking me? This is crazy. And that's when it became real. Because I was
Wow.
like, whoops, a fuzz. Um, a lot of people try out for this. And just because I have an in, with the casting director, and just because I'm Lance's assistant doesn't mean I'm gonna make it in the show. And
Right.
there are people, they have alternates that come, so like they could possibly be on the show, like, I don't know, something could happen and they need them. And so those people, I'm like, oh, that's so disappointing. You
Right.
know what I mean? Or the first person to be eliminated or blocked, I guess. I
Yeah.
always use Big Brother terminology. The first person that's blocked, you're like, oh, I didn't even get to play the game. So
Right. Well,
I
so
wasn't one of those,
you
but
get that call, and then was it like how much time did you have before you had to pack your bags and go to London?
I think a couple of weeks.
Right.
And like to get everything sorted for Lance, and because they take your phone. Like you get there and there's production people waiting in your flat, and they take like your phone, they took my Kindle, anything electronic they take.
Like Lance's wedding all over again.
Yes. And then they give you like a production phone, which I could have. Like, were you on there? I can't
I
remember if
must have been because I don't remember you disappearing forever on text.
yeah, because me and you and Marnie have our little group text. So I
Yeah.
think you guys were on there. My roommate Lance, my parents.
But you couldn't really tell people what you were doing. You just said you were in
No,
London for work.
yes. So
So it
yeah,
was like
no.
a London phone.
Yeah, like the only people that knew about that were my family and work.
Right.
You guys just thought that I was there
I
for
don't know.
work,
Yeah.
whatever.
It
You're
was
like,
a major
oh,
surprise when we found out. Yeah.
my phone broke or whatever I said. But yeah, so it was a whirlwind, like going and getting there, and yeah, it was crazy.
So you arrive in London mid-pandemic,
Or
and
Manchester. I arrived. It
oh, okay.
shoots in Manchester. So yeah, mid-pandemic I arrived too. So that was a whole other layer.
This was October, right? October 2020.
Yeah, I landed September 30th. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So now take me through what happens when you get there. First, you quarantine in a different apartment for 2 weeks.
An apartment and you're there for 2 weeks and you cannot see anybody. You can't leave that apartment.
Wow.
Um, and then after the 2 weeks, and you're quarantined or you're COVID tested every 2 or 3 days.
Right. And you
So
have a chaperone?
huh?
And you have a chaperone?
Not yet, not yet.
Oh,
And
not
in
yet.
quarantine, no chaperone.
Wow.
And then once you do the quarantine, then you get a chaperone and you go into hiding, is what it's called, before you enter the game. So I was with my chaperone for 3 nights, who I love. Her name is Ellie, and she's just, I love, we still keep in touch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then the night before, I think they were like, "You're going in tomorrow." And I'm like, ah.
But are you
So
in hiding because they don't want you to run into the
yeah.
other
And
contestants?
that's why you have a chaperone. So when you're in hiding, you can go on walks, right? Like around Manchester a couple times a day. So your chaperone they all have to coordinate and say, okay, like I don't know where any of them stayed. And it's funny, I get this question all the time, like, were you on the same floor as anybody in playing the game? Did you hear anybody? And I'm like, no, the soundproofing's like crazy. But I
Right.
don't know. I don't know if I was on the floor with somebody else because they have everything timed out and scheduled to where you're not going to run into somebody.
Right, like they when they deliver something to your apartment and you open the door and you get it, I was thinking they definitely make sure
Yeah.
nobody
It's
else is
probably
opening
like
the
timed
door.
out if somebody's on your floor. But again, like I don't know if somebody was actually on my floor. I don't even know
Right.
what floor I was on.
Right. Well, we saw you guys like through the window. It's amazing how they filmed that show. Like we saw
Yeah.
every
I
angle of
think
that
they use
apartment.
a drone,
It
like
was
to film the.
incredible. Yeah, and all the apartments, you're all stacked. You're so close. There's just a wall between you guys. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's time to go on the show. After your 2 weeks, you enter the apartment. You're playing for $100,000 grand prize. Does anyone else live in that circle building, or it's just for the show?
I think it's just for the show. I mean,
Okay.
I think it's always just for the show. I don't think anybody ever lives there. I could be
Right.
wrong, but like, I don't think anybody does.
Right. And so when you enter the apartment, it's decorated for Lance Bass, as if you're Lance to help
Mhm.
get you in character.
Yeah.
How long did they tell you you would be in that apartment for? 3 weeks, a month?
They didn't know because I mean, I could have been there 2 nights and been
Yeah. The
blocked.
maximum. What's the maximum that you?
The max about 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. Well, what's so fascinating is, when season one of The Circle aired, quarantining was like this crazy concept.
Right.
Like who would ever quarantine alone without being able to leave? But by the
Yeah.
time season two rolled around, it was a pandemic and we had all been quarantining for a year. We were all experts at it.
Experts. Yeah. So it wasn't that weird.
It's
It was
almost
like,
like the show predicted the future.
it.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. So what was that like quarantining, but with cameras filming you 24/7?
I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't weird at all. Like, I've heard many people on reality shows say, like, you forget the cameras are there at one point.
Yeah.
And I did. Like, I didn't. The only time I was actually cognizant is when I was getting dressed or in the bathroom.
Right.
But they were good. Like, you take off your mic and they turn the cameras around. And so it was fine. But yeah, that's the only time that I was like, oh, yeah, there's cameras here.
Did the game start right away when you walked in?
Yeah, I had like 10 minutes and then,
Wow.
yeah, there you go. It's like, oh, go alert. And
Oh my
there,
God. It's so
I did.
exciting though. That must have been
Yeah,
really exciting. On the show,
mhm.
you said it was like Christmas morning.
It was. It was because I was so excited because like we both are big gamers. Like
Oh, yeah.
we love running charades and board games and big.
Trivia.
We love all those things. So this was like a dream come true.
So cool. And were you
Mhm.
worried about how you would spend the downtime or you just brought a ton of books?
Oh no, I was so excited for the downtime. I was like, yay! Because it sucked because I had all these books on my Kindle, and I'm like,
Oh, right.
obviously when you travel a lot, you should get a Kindle because you have 20 books on there, and I read like a crazy madman.
Right. I have to mention that in 2019, you read 112 books. You broke your own record.
I did. I
And
did
you're,
last year. I did 98, I think, which is still a lot of books, but
yeah,
like,
but you were busy doing a show.
yes. And I love reading just so much. And I was like, I'm going to take this opportunity because I'm not going to be distracted by my phone or my television. So why not read and just read, 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 read,
And
read.
your rule is that the books have to be 250 pages or more, right?
Yes, that's everyone's like, who made that rule? I'm like, oh, me.
Right. Well,
Self-imposed.
you read all like the new cool best books, and then you tell me books to tell my mom to read because she reads a
Yes,
lot too,
yes, I
and she
love that.
gives me books for you to read. Like you guys have
Yes,
your own
it's great. It's
little
like we have our own little book exchange
totally.
club.
Yeah, but
But one thing that is so frustrating is that every book I read that I love, I'm like, oh, gotta look into the rights to option it.
right,
Reese Witherspoon every time. I mean, granted, she gets these books before they're published and
right.
stuff like that, but yeah, we have the same reading
Wait,
tastes.
it's so funny that you say that because I remember my mom read Water for Elephants, and she told me to get the rights and turn it into a movie. And then Reese Witherspoon was in the movie. I don't know if she produced
Yeah,
it, but she was in it. And
that's
now everything Reese Witherspoon isn't optioning, Kaylee Cuoco is optioning. So you
yeah.
got to get in there. You and Lance have to option some books.
I know, and Plan B, Brad Pitt too. Like
Yes.
everybody is like, or Leo, Appian Way,
Yeah,
right?
Appian Way. And the thing is, right, like you said, they get it in the manuscript stage.
Hmm.
So, they get it before it's even published. So how does anyone compete? I'm doing that teen movie that I've told you about. The high
Yeah.
school movie was in the manuscript phase. And luckily my friend was the author, so I was able to get it. Otherwise it would have come out and someone else would have gotten it.
And like also, obviously, Reese's budget is endless for these things. Brad
Right.
Pitt's endless.
It's hard to
We're
compete.
we're not a startup, but like we haven't done huge productions like that. So
Right.
yeah, I can see
But
why they get them.
But you literally read them like the week they come out, which is
Yes,
cool. You're
I do.
right on top of it. But did you mention once that you could watch Netflix in the Circle apartment?
So we had a down day,
Okay.
where we could get takeout, which was so amazing. Um, I got Nando's, which is my favorite restaurant in England.
Nice.
And yeah, we could watch Netflix all day. So I laid in bed all day and watched. Oh, it was a show. It was a British show, uh, where they basically the whole show takes place in the interrogation room.
Oh,
It's
I don't
called
know.
Criminal UK. It's so good. So I
Wow.
watched that, and apparently you could watch Netflix at night. I didn't know this until I moved in with Jack.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, I could have been watching this. I mean, 3 or 4 days, but still. But I
But
read, so
you don't have to feel bad about sitting around watching Netflix and reading books all day because that's what we were all doing for 2020.
yeah, no, it's true. It was true.
So,
I was running out of stuff to watch,
right.
you
And
know?
and what about room service? It was room service on demand?
Well, yeah, so before I went to England, you fill out like a list of foods that you want to eat.
Nice.
And so they know, and so your fridge is stocked. And like, there's a couple times where I ran out of Diet Coke because I'm a big addict, and so I would just say, hey, can I get some Diet Coke whenever somebody's going out? I'm like, don't make a thing of it, like a trip of it. And like an hour later, Diet Coke. I was like,
That's nice.
this is amazing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's one of the perks you miss when the show's over, I'm sure. So,
yeah.
for viewers watching the show, you entered episode 3. Did you know you were entering episode 3? Like that they had already
The day
started?
before.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Hmm.
So they were already playing the game when you
Yep.
entered.
Yep.
Did that make you nervous at all? Like they already knew each other and you were the new
Well, of course, because I mean, typically in reality shows, like the people that start together end together.
alliances? Yeah.
But I was like, well, I mean, I'm going to give it a whirl and pray that maybe there was like some discord with people. And there was. So I was like, okay, I think that I'm a little safe. So, but you never feel too comfortable.
Right. And so, okay, let's go through the castmates that you met when you entered. So the catfishes first, because it was
Hmm.
catfishing. Lisa as Lance,
Hmm.
Jack playing Emily,
Yep.
Lee playing River,
Hmm.
Delisa playing her husband Trevor. Those were
Yep.
the catfishes.
Hmm.
Then there were people playing as themselves. Chloe, who was also on Too Hot to Handle, which is another Netflix reality show.
Hmm.
Courtney as himself. Teralicia,
Hmm.
Savannah, Bryant, and then joining later were Mitchell and Kat.
Yes.
So, when Lance arrived, which was really Lisa, he sent brunch to everyone the first morning. Did you know they were doing that, or the producers did that?
No, I found out when everybody else found out. I
Well,
was like,
everyone loved him right away. It was very celebrity like. It was a very celebrity move to send brunch to everybody.
yes, I agree.
And so some because of the brunch, some because they were starstruck, some both fell in love with Lance right away. Lee seemed the most starstruck, I would
Yes,
say.
yes.
And so he was the first person that you talked to one on one. And what was that like? Did you choose him? Did he choose you?
I think he chose me,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. But it was great. We had a really great chat because he said they didn't show this, but he said that he was gay and I believe just came out, but it was hard for him because his family didn't want anything to do with him. And if I had advice, so I was like, oh God, no, this is like a heavy topic, right? And I don't know because I'm not a gay man. So I kind
Right.
of just drew from like Lance's experience and I was like, my parents are Southern Baptists and it took them a minute to come around. They'll come around, you're their son first and foremost. Like they're going to love you no matter what. And
Wow. So that's why you guys bonded so quickly.
yes, because it was like a pretty intense conversation. And I did feel bad at that point too, because I'm like, oh, this isn't really my place. But again, I knew it from the point of view of his friend, Lance's friend at the time and what he went through. So I
Yeah.
saw it all.
Right.
So, I
But
mean,
you were catfishing Lee as Lance, but Lee was catfishing you as River. So Lee was really playing, he said himself at 20 years old,
yes.
So he's, married to a man in real life and years
Yep.
past that. So really he was remembering his youth and
Right.
you were being Lance. So you were kind of having a fake conversation, but coming from a real place.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. That's a great way to
Which
put
is
it.
kind of interesting. So you had to message everybody as Lance. You had to say things like "Hi, y'all," which is like
No.
what
Yeah.
Lance would
Never
say.
say that.
So what was that like channeling Lance? Because you had to be so careful. Each text sounded like Lance Bass.
And like a boy, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I had to keep my emojis in check because he's not an
Right.
emoji person.
Yes, you're an
That
emoji
that
person.
was a little bit difficult and it would make it so much easier if I would have played myself as
Right.
a woman,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
So yeah, it was but it wasn't as hard as I thought because I email on his behalf all the time, not as Lance, but like he knows how I speak, so it's like it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah. But so let's talk about what Lance brought up earlier, which was they asked Lance, "How would you spend the money if you won
Oh,
100,000?" But explain why you didn't say he would give it to charity because Lisa wouldn't give it, right?
well, yes, because I felt say that I won and say that the main reason people would have wanted me to win that were rating
Right.
were like because she's going to give it all to charity. That's like such a selfless thing, right?
Right.
I mean, the odds of all that happening were slim to none. But then, like, if I won and they see me and I didn't donate it all to charity, like, I would feel icky about it. So
Right.
that's why I just didn't. And everyone's like, but it's a game. And I'm like, I know it's a game, but that's not me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, then you had to be true to yourself. And that's
yeah.
smart. I understand that. You don't want them to vote for you and then find out the money is not going where you said it was going.
The
And
money,
also,
I mean, not that I was going to go blow my money on like boats and gold chains like Will Hurley, but I would have. Oh, wait, no, it's fine. Um,
Hi, Brett.
but I would have used it for like student loans and
right.
I would have bought my niece and nephew something really cool and like I would have used the money for me for stuff that I want and I would have given some to charity for sure but just not the whole thing.
Right. It's interesting because to Lisa, who won, she said she was a single dad who wanted the money to get a house for her and her baby.
Yeah.
She was telling the truth in a way because she was playing her husband Trevor and they do have a baby and she did use it to get a house, but she did use the single dad thing, which might have, played
Right.
on people's, sympathy a little bit. So she didn't lie about where the money was going, but she kind of lied, but
Yeah.
whatever it takes to win the game, I guess.
I know, and that's true. And what she was playing for, the stakes were so much higher than what I was playing for.
Right. I get it.
I don't have a family. I'm like, I mean, I would have used part of the money to go on vacation. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Right.
Oh, so yes, her stakes and like Chloe's stakes were much higher. Like she wanted it, for rehab charities and like for her dad and
Right.
stuff like that. Courtney wanted it for her stepdad. So the people that, like as opposed to me and Lee wanted a pool, which is amazing, but like our reasons weren't uh life-changing decisions, I guess you could say.
Right, I get it. So yeah, so for you, it wasn't as much about maybe the $100,000 prize as the experience.
Yes, because I knew going in as Lance, I'm like the chances of me winning that money aren't crazy,
Right,
but I just didn't care. I wanted to play the game, and maybe I did win, but
right,
yeah, I just wanted the experience.
right. Because in their minds, they're thinking Lance Bass doesn't need this money. We're
Yeah,
not giving it to him. Right. So it's
yeah,
interesting, but at least you still got to play. So let's talk
yeah.
about some of the competitions. Were those nerve wracking? Because the whole time are you reminding yourself like, how would Lance do this?
Yes. And like the pancake challenge where we had to, make the animal that you think you are. I made a bass or a fish because
Oh, a Lance Bass. Now I
yeah,
get it.
yes, but it was hard. Like it was hard. I didn't love that one. I didn't love the Glamicon challenge because I've never styled a wig before.
No, but for that, if since you're playing as Lance, didn't it not matter if you knew how to do makeup or
Yeah.
hair?
And I feel like somebody said, you've been in entertainment this long, blah, blah, but what person in entertainment does their own hair and makeup?
No, right. I think they meant he's been in a makeup chair, but that doesn't mean he would learn
That
how.
doesn't make you good at makeup.
Right, right.
Um, so yeah, I did love the trivia challenge, which I love. We
Yes,
did trivia for years competitively,
yes.
bar
That
trivia.
was cool. Yeah.
That
By
was
the way, I should tell people King Trivia. We played every Tuesday night at Goal. We always sat in the same booth. It was table eight, so our team was the Great Table Eight. It was you, me, Lance, Michael, Ben Savage, Austin Stoll, Zach Conroy, Mandy, Reba. We won so many times that we were top 30 for all of LA, and we went to the finals. And the finals, we lost because the Who Am I round was Flo from Progressive. It
that's
was so
right.
hard, and
Well,
now
it turned into Jeopardy. I was like, when did these questions get so
it
hard?
was
Like
much
they were hard
harder.
for us.
Yeah, the finals were the top 30 teams at Busby's, and it was much harder. And we're all pop culture gurus, but it was less pop culture, than usual.
It
But
was like
now it's
those senators and geography. I'm like, I
so
don't know
tough.
those things.
Well, I will say Zach Conroy and Austin Stoll were always good at like history and
Yeah.
geography and political stuff and sports. I had movies and TV and
Right.
music covered, but it's funny now that Lance has that commercial with Flo from Progressive
I
because
know. You're like
she
full circle.
she full circle, but she haunted me from that trivia competition. But anyway, they did have trivia, and you were amazing at it, obviously.
Me
Uh,
and Matt got every question right. Like we didn't
exactly.
play every question, but yeah, we got every question right.
But that also, the trivia was very revealing for people because you could tell who was maybe male or female, or you had to be very careful during the trivia to get it right.
Well, thank God Scottie Pippen came to Delisa.
Well, she had that notebook, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it just that was crazy. I mean, I knew who they were because that was like such a big thing at the time, like
yeah, the
that
Chicago
particular
Bulls,
team.
of course.
Um, and then I love the poster challenge. That was fun.
That was
Excuse me.
cool,
We
yeah.
we got to make the poster.
That
Yeah, I really enjoyed all the challenges. I didn't like I said love the pancake and the Glamacon, but it was still
Yeah.
fun.
Still fun, yeah. And you're alone, and it's like, I don't know, there's just something cool about it that then you all reveal your finished product to each other, and everyone
And
votes on
that
the
took
team.
forever. I'm like, I just want to see everybody's.
Yeah.
You have to
But
like upload them. There's a whole like I would love to see the production room, like where all
right.
the people are talking and filming and typing and yeah,
Well, they edit it together in such a way that it looks like the messages are being sent quickly, the results are coming in quickly.
yes.
They edit it very, very well. But so we mentioned Delisa with Scottie Pippen, like she had a notebook of all sports trivia so she could play Trevor better. Did you have a notebook of Lance trivia?
No, because I know everything about Lance,
Right,
like I know, and he's not a big sports guy.
right.
So I feel like, because that was the beauty of it. He's a gay male and he's married. So I didn't have to flirt with anybody. It was just, that was fine.
Right, he's married, right.
But I did have some space notes, like if anybody like asked me space questions, but no, I like didn't, no.
But what happened when outer space came up? Because it didn't, Jack as Emily talk to you about outer
Yeah,
space?
we talked a little bit about it, but it was easy. He asked me like what a cosmonaut was, which have known that answer for a million years. Um, yeah, no. Oh, I think he asked me, I don't know if they put this on the show, but if I ever had like an alien experience. And I
Oh,
said like driving to Vegas, which we do a lot in LA.
yeah.
He thought that he saw something, but like didn't know or whatever it was, which wasn't true. He did a friend of ours did a tape that of something that they saw, so I kind of like meshed that experience in, but yeah. It wasn't
Ah,
I did not like feel I was confident about all the stuff that they could ask me about him.
yeah. Well, Kat asked you when she came in. She asked about she pretended that she went to an NSYNC concert and Lance wore a leather jacket with zippers because she was
Yeah.
trying to catch
And
Lance
why?
right in a lie.
Or Lance and a lie. But I was like, well, you didn't go to the show, so how would you know what he wore anyway? And
Right.
no, he didn't wear that.
Well, you knew. So on the show, you said you didn't remember that jacket, and you said even if Lance did wear it, he wouldn't remember.
He didn't
So,
remember.
so why didn't you just say I don't remember that jacket, but if I did wear it, it's in my sister's closet with the rest of the
Because I
stuff?
thought that by me even saying like I don't remember that she would automatically be like he's a liar, he's a catfish.
Oh,
But it's
okay.
like
Either way,
members like I wanted or I should have said like, well, what did you wear 20 years ago?
right.
Like whatever. But at the end of the like she thought that she caught me in a catfish lie, and I was like, no, I mean that's true. His sister does have all of the costumes in her closet, so I
Right.
mean,
I thought it
yeah.
was a good answer. Yeah, I thought you told the truth. And okay, so speaking of that jacket, something that happened as a result of the circle, you became almost an accidental fashion icon on this show. What's
Weird.
happening? So as the episodes were coming out, a lot of the comments in your Instagram posts were about, the clothes and the jewelry you were wearing. You're wearing the candy necklace right
I
now.
am just for you, just for this,
The
the Chanel
Chanel
candy
candy
necklace.
necklace. First of all, it's the coolest thing that Chanel made a candy necklace.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you, Marnie.
yeah, our friend Marnie gave it to you. It's your good luck charm,
Yes.
and it's very expensive for a candy necklace as far as
Yes.
those go. But you wore that. You wore a YSL sweater that also Marnie gave to you. Naked cashmere sweaters, Wild Fox sweatsuits, all these things that you wore for comfort. But people want the fashion.
Well, because it was cold in there. Like I saw like some of the girls weren't wearing much clothing, and I'm like, my place was freezing. And I'm a very like not modest dresser. Like I don't want to sound like I'm a Puritan or whatever. Or, I don't know what an Amish person like
No, no, no.
covers up. But I'm all about comfort. I'm like,
Right.
and I'm older than those girls. Like I did that dressing back in my club days. Um, but no, the most actually, besides this necklace and the YSL sweater, was this tie-dye sweatsuit, like a lounge suit from Gap. Everyone's like, "Where did
Wow.
you get that?" And I'm like, "Gap, I love Gap, so
I think you need some endorsement deals off of this. You need a
I would love it.
Chanel candy necklace deal. You need a Gap tie dye sweatsuit deal. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
funny that
Wild Fox, this is Wild Fox. I wear Wild Fox all the time.
yeah, they should definitely sponsor you because I mean, think about it. You went on for comfort, and it turned out that style was really what you
I know, and I'm like the
have.
least style. Like I said, I'm all about comfort. I'm all about like jeans and sweatshirts, jeans and t-shirts.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, okay, so let's talk about the gameplay. So ultimately, there was a double blocking ceremony, and Lisa as Lance got blocked. Jack as Emily got blocked. I
yeah.
mean, Jack, we have to say, failed miserably in the
He
makeup
did.
challenge.
He
They
did.
they knew right away that that was not a 20-something girl doing the makeup. I feel bad that that was the challenge for him because he was doing so well up until
I
that point.
know. I know.
Everyone believed he was Emily. Mitchell had a crush on him, everything.
Oh, I know. I
But
know.
but they gave you and Jack each a second chance to play together as John, a joint catfish. So tell me
Right.
about that moment where you get blocked, but then you find out you have a second chance.
Yeah, when we found out when we met in the apartment that I thought was Rivers, and I think he went to see Trevor for some reason, but I don't remember.
Right.
And we were so confused, like who was who. And then they were like, okay, sit down, something's gonna happen. And we were like, what? And then they put the alert on like you can play to win or as John.
Right.
And
Well, who's
asked us
gonna say
like,
no to that? Who's gonna say no?
well, I know they asked us off camera. They were like, "Do you guys want to do it?" And we were like, "Yeah." Like we didn't even consult. We were like,
Right.
"Yes, we're gonna do this,"
Of
and
course.
it was so fun. I loved playing with Jack. It's we're so opposite. Well, just based on age, we're so opposite. I think that if I went to college with Jack, we would have been friends. Like
Totally.
we'd have
Yeah.
totally partied together and whatever. But he's a 20-year-old guy living in a frat, and I'm like 43-year-old woman with a career, and like I've been there. But it was so fun, like talking about drinking games again, and like just high school or college stuff. That was a lot of fun, and I loved playing John because it was a blank canvas. We could do, the only requirements are that we use that profile picture and that he's a psychic. Anything else we got to make up. So
Right.
we
And
had
psychic is fun because you've already met the other
yes,
contestants.
we
So
knew.
you knew stuff about them so you could pretend to be psychic about them, which
Yeah.
is cool.
And then, so we made him, I think, a 65-year-old gay man, husband Terry, they had kids or whatever.
Wait, he was
And
a full-time psychic and a part-time
part-time
Santa.
Santa, only for the Christmas months. But then we met John via email, Jack and I, and he was so sweet, but he's only 47. And I was like, 40, like we aged this guy like 20 years.
Right.
Math is not easy for me. And that was hilarious because I was like, what? But Jack was like, he probably gets it all the time because he's Santa. Like he's always,
Right.
Santa stuff. So, yeah, but he's very sweet. I think he's a firefighter
Oh
and a
wow.
part-time Santa. So,
Wow.
think, but part-time Santa for sure.
That's so funny. You guys didn't know he was a part-time Santa? You made him a part-time Santa?
I don't know if we knew that, but there was a lot of Santa pictures.
Got it.
That's like
Okay.
in his album. So we were
All
like,
right.
must like whatever.
So you and Jack both get a second chance to play again, and you move into a two-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
So how was that to now have a roommate after being in, solitary confinement for a few weeks?
It was nice because I had somebody to like bounce stuff off of, and we made just a really good team.
Yeah,
Like,
you were a good team.
because Jack is more, he's a guy and he's outspoken and he's not, meaner isn't the word. Like he's more
Blunt?
blunt. Blunt is a perfect word. And
Yeah.
I'm like, not, I'm like, oh, should we really do that? And he's like, come on, we want to win the game. And I'm like, all right, all right.
Well, you were kind of finishing each other's sentences, like if
Yes.
in that you would really work together to write those messages. I know, like John talked to Mitchell. Mitchell was playing himself, and
Yeah.
he's confiding in John that Emily broke his heart and was
No,
really a dude, but he's telling that to Jack, who was Emily and is now also John.
you
That to
know,
me, that's my favorite scene of the whole season is
I know.
you and Jack playing John talking to Mitchell about Emily, who was also Jack. I mean, it was, and him saying, I was in love, and you turn to Jack and you say, what did you do to Mitchell?
I know, because I was like, oh, like you broke his heart.
Double catfished by the
Yeah,
same person.
I know,
Uh,
that's wild.
so what was that like playing John with Jack? Was it like less pressure than Lance because they couldn't catch you in lies like they could with Lance?
Yep.
This was just a new guy that you could really say anything you wanted.
Yes, like I didn't feel stressed at all playing John. It was so much fun. It was just
Right.
like, we got this second chance. Let's have fun with it. Let's see what happens. And people loved John. They
Yeah.
loved,
Well,
so yeah, go
I
ahead.
think they love the duo of Jack and Lisa. Honestly, I think
Well,
that's funny.
yes, like, but we turned John into this like lovable person that you just wanted to be friends with. Like, there were several times when I said to Jack, I'm like, I want to be friends with John. Like,
Yeah.
created and uh, yeah, no, I had a blast playing John.
Do you think John just came into the game too late to kind of win it? He didn't get the chance to make
Of
the
course, I mean,
alliances.
he was
Yeah.
like I said earlier, like when you start a game together, you have more of a bond with those people. You're gonna protect those people more.
Yeah.
But like they could have saved Mitchell, like they could have saved Kat, and maybe we couldn't. Actually, I think that we only survived one blocking, and they could have got rid of John, but they got rid of Mitchell.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. Yeah, Kat and Mitchell came in late, got blocked, but John
Yeah,
did not get blocked.
they
Uh,
got John.
John went to the finals. So also, I just wanted to say something funny on the after party.
Uh-huh.
Netflix special. David Spade hosted it,
Yeah.
and his joke was that Lisa got really good at Flip Cup and Halo, living with Jack. But
Yeah.
little does he know, you were already good at Flip Cup because we did it
I'm
for the
really good.
Big Brother weekend at Lance's house.
Yeah. Flip Cup's my game. I love it.
Right, exactly. So I thought
Mhm.
it was really fun to watch you guys together, and I was so bummed at first when you got blocked as Lance, and then I was so happy that you got a second chance as
Right. I
John.
got so many texts like, you got blocked. I can't believe it. I'm like, keep watching.
Yeah,
Watch.
exactly. Yeah,
Like,
I was bummed, and then I was immediately relieved that
I
you were
know.
going to still be
So
on the show. You're on every episode, since you entered, you made it all the way
yeah.
to the end.
I think I
Um,
just didn't be, I wasn't in two
well,
episodes.
yeah, and once you entered, you stayed
I
till
was on
the
the
end,
whole time. Yeah. Which
definitely.
is great.
But were you and Jack just laughing the whole time? Because you love laughing, and you're in that apartment together.
Yes, no, Jack was hilarious. He made me laugh every day.
Yeah.
So much so, like, I fell over twice. Like, he made me laugh and I like tripped and fell, and then we're both just dying. And I got up and I fell again. Like, we just had so much fun. He would dance and do impressions. And yeah, he was
It
amazing.
sounds like the fans want a Jack Lisa spinoff of you
I
guys, like
know.
a
I would love
sitcom,
that too. Me and Jack, like, doing something.
just
We're just,
living in an apartment together.
I know, like, people, yeah, I've heard that so many times, which is so sweet. But
Yeah, everyone loved you guys together. And also, he's 6'5", you're 5'2". There is a photo of you from the show, both in tuxedos, and he's so tall, his head is cut off. So we posted that on your Instagram where it swipes to the Twins poster with
twins.
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. The
Yep.
caption was Twins 2, and
Yep.
people went crazy for that. I mean,
Did. People loved it.
you have to
People,
have a sense of
it's
humor.
funny. You
Right.
do. Like, yeah, because that's a big height difference.
Yeah.
5 to 5'2", it's crazy. And I didn't even notice how big it was until I watched. I'm like,
Right.
oh my God, he's so tall. I mean, I did say a couple times in the thing, like, yes, you're so tall, but like, I didn't understand the gravity of it until
Right. You
I'm
saw it
watching
on
it.
TV. Yeah, absolutely. So the Jack Lisa duo made it to the final five, top six people, but two
Mhm.
playing one. And before that, you got messages from home. So what was that like getting the messages from home? Because your dad has become the breakout star of the show.
It has. People love my dad. I love my dad. He's the kindest man ever. And I was so shocked that he was talking so much that I was like, oh my God, I couldn't even cry because I was just like, what is happening? And my whole family was there, like my like sister, husband, niece, nephew, mom, dad. So that was like so nice to see.
I love it.
Um, but after I watched, or after when I watched the show, then I was like, oh my God.
I
But
think
yeah,
everybody was.
what's that?
Everybody was because it really like tugged at the heartstrings that
Yeah, and I've gotten more messages about my dad than I know what to do with, which makes him feel so good too. So yeah,
yeah.
no, I love that. That was one of my favorite parts.
I love that. I love that they do it on Big Brother too. Messages from
Yes.
home. They're
You're just like, oh,
amazing. You finally got to be on the receiving end of that.
I
And
know.
I really think your presence on the show, it brought joy, positivity,
Oh,
fun.
thank you.
You weren't part of any drama. I've seen
There's no need.
no need. I've seen comments on your social media calling you a delight. I agree.
Oh, oh, that's so nice.
The
That's so,
comments are so nice, I think. I've been reading all
no,
of them.
I know.
It's been amazing.
Yes.
So the finale aired May 5th.
Hmm.
You were part of that final five. I thought the finale was amazingly produced and edited. It
Hmm.
was such a fun hour. They did
Yeah.
each catfish reveal one by one. Starts with Chloe. She finds out Trevor is Delisa. Then
Yep.
Courtney joins. Then they find out River is Lee. And then finally, John walks in, but it's Lisa and Jack, who they had already seen videos of you guys as
Yep.
Lance and Emily. So they
Yep.
were just blown away. I loved watching every moment of that finale.
Yeah.
Did you love watching how it all came together?
I did. And like there was so much conversation, obviously, that they couldn't show because we were just like speaking 10 miles a minute. Like it
Right.
was just like, and they were like, no, you got to wrap in it. Like,
Well, they
there's,
found out that you were a catfish in that moment, but you also found out that they were all catfishing.
yeah, yeah. So that was crazy. I love that, like, gather dinner, I guess they called it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So Delisa ended up winning, like we said.
Mhm.
Um, how did that feel to just be part of the finale? And you've been part of all the reunions. Like, how did
Right.
it feel to you make it to the end? You get to be on the finale on that couch. You
Mhm.
know, even though you're as John, but how did it feel to make it all the way to the end?
Oh my God, it was amazing. It was such an accomplishment. Yeah, and I think I was, with the people that really should have been there. And I was so happy when Delisa won. Like, I mean, like I said, she wanted it for a house for her growing family. And
Right.
yeah, no, I was super happy that she won.
I thought it was cool too that all the catfish made it to the finals, you know? The only
Yeah,
people that were blocked were people playing themselves.
yeah, which is so weird. But yeah,
Crazy and
cool.
wild. That was
Mhm.
cool. And there was also a contest for fan favorite.
Yes.
Brought out the big guns for that. You had Lance make a video with all your friends from boy bands. You had
Mhm.
Lance in it. You had Trevor Pennick from O-Town, AJ McLean from the Backstreet Boys, Jeff Timmons from 98 Degrees, Ashley Parker Angel from O-Town. It's gotten over 40,000 views on Instagram, over
Hey.
40,000 views on TikTok on your accounts. What was that like putting together that, fan favorite campaign video?
Well, I feel like it came to me so late in the game. Like there was, everyone's like, where was the new kid? And I was like, I just couldn't get to everyone in time. But because the guys that I approached I'm friendly with as well. So
Yeah.
I didn't even have Lance call it. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna see what they say. And they were so sweet. They all got their videos to me so quickly. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, you guys are amazing. And yeah, no, I was really like touched that
It
they
was
did that for
it
me.
was yeah, it was a great viral moment. And
Yeah,
then I mentioned the after party hosted by David Spade, Fortune Feimster, London Hughes. You and Courtney got to be there in person. The rest of them were on
yeah,
Zoom. You played a trivia game where, of course, you got them all right. Even the Cristiano Ronaldo answer. But then they did the thing, Price is Right, where they said one more than you did. But
yes,
you were
yes.
right on it with that. That's,
Mhm.
the trivia skills coming
Trivia.
into play.
Yeah.
Um, so now I have to ask. You've mentioned a circle group chat, so you've
Yeah.
kept in touch with everybody, right? What's that
Yeah.
group
We're
chat
all
been
on.
like? Is that
Mhm.
group
We're
chat
just,
just going on all day long?
yeah, like if somebody was getting, trolled, like we were all there to be like, don't listen to it. Like it was just like a positive, like pep talk. Or if
Right.
something cool happened, like, Lee's been getting really sweet messages about people like wanting to come out and stuff like that. So he shares those. Yeah, or do you want to do an Instagram live today? Just things like that. And tomorrow night, or sorry, Thursday,
Ready?
it's dinner with, because this airs Monday, right?
It's
Okay,
okay.
so
Yeah.
Thursday we had a dinner, me, Savannah, Jack, Courtney, and Mitchell, because we're all in LA. So
Oh wow.
really fun. Yeah, so we try to hang out when we can, and yeah,
I think that's sort of a rite of passage. After you've done a reality show, you move to LA.
yeah, right, right. I was already here, so
You were already here. Yeah, but I think Mitchell and Chloe have said they will both want to move to LA. They might have a little budding romance, which is
right.
interesting because he had to friend zone her because he thought Trevor already had her,
I
not knowing
know.
Trevor was Delisa.
I know.
Crazy.
So funny. Yeah, I can't wait to see how that turns out. I
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But you'll always have that circle group chat with the whole cast,
yeah.
tying you guys together for life.
Yes, because you only a small handful of people have went through that experience. So
And
yeah, it's cool. I
no,
love it.
that's like, yeah, it's really cool that you got to be a part of that. Also, we mentioned that Lee is a big Lance fan.
Mhm.
So, Lisa, you pulled off what even Netflix couldn't pull off. They couldn't even make the Lee Lance moment happen because
Yeah,
of the
COVID.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you captured it on video as part of the first episode of your own podcast, Laugh Out Loud with Lisa. It's the perfect title. I love the alliteration with the L's.
Oh, thank you. I
Your
do
nickname
laugh.
was, yeah, you laugh a lot. Your nickname was Giggles. So we were talking, and you were like, "Who should my first guest be?" And I was like, "Do you think you could pull it off? That you could survive? Have a
Mhm.
viral moment of surprising Lee with Lance?" And you're like, "I can do that," and you did it.
And I
And
mean, it was your brainchild, and
no, but it's gone super viral. I mean, what was that like surprising Lee with Lance finally?
made me so happy. It made me so happy. Just he wanted to meet him so bad, and like,
Yeah,
and everyone's like, "Did you keep your promise? Did you keep your promise?" And I was like, "Here you go. Yes, I did."
yeah, because he thought he was talking to Lance the whole time.
Yes. Yes, and like we had Lance over here and he's like complimenting Lance, saying great things, and then in pops Lance. And yeah, the whole moment's on my IGTV, so I've
Yeah, and it's got over 70,000 views combined.
oh
The
my
two
God.
IGTV videos of your first episode of your
Yay.
podcast. So very quickly, tell people about your new podcast. What can they expect? Because it's very positive, right?
Yes, it's Laugh Out Loud with Lisa. We're gonna cover, just happy things, stuff that makes me laugh, stuff that makes my guests laugh. And then, talking about random things like, stuff that we love, movies maybe that made us, laugh and shaped our childhood, just a bunch of different things. I'm going to have some celebrities, a lot of my friends, my parents. So yeah, it's fun. And I think everywhere podcasts are out.
Absolutely. Okay, so the audio version of your podcast, Laugh Out Loud with Lisa, is available everywhere people get their podcasts. The video will always be up on your Instagram account on IGTV at LiseeD, Liseed. Episode 1 was, of course, Lee. Episode 2 will be Jack, your former Circle roommate and partner in crime. You're going to keep having your Circle castmates on as guests. I'm sure you'll have Lance on. You'll have me on at some point.
Yes.
All your friends, your dad, like we said, you're the breakout star, all kinds of celebrity guests. I think it's really fun, and I think it's cool that you get to go from being the sidekick on the radio show and Lance's podcast to now being the host of your own.
He groomed me to be a host.
You did learn from a really good teacher there.
Yes, much better at it, but
No, he's good, and you're good too. Listen, people love you. Lee was a fan of the radio show, and then he got to meet Giggles and
I know. Well, when we first met at the dinner, when everybody got revealed, he was like, "It's Giggles," and I was like, "Oh my God, you watched
I
or
know.
you listened?" And he was like,
People know.
"Yes."
That's the thing. People know. You think you're just the sidekick, but sometimes the sidekick. Andy Richter, remember Conan O'Brien?
Yes, Andy Richter, yeah.
They become a star in their own right. So along with the podcast, you're also starting your own blog, laughoutloudwithlisa.com. You got the domain name. When is that going to be up? I know that the tagline is from my life as a celebrity assistant and my love of reading books to my quest for the perfect chicken finger and everything in between. So when can people get a look at your blog?
I'm hoping by mid this week.
Okay.
It's like I'm building it right now, and I'm like, I have all the content in my head, but it's
Yeah.
like the actual building of the site that I'm like, oh, never done this, but yeah, it's coming together.
That's going to be fun. It'll give you a place to put all your thoughts and stories
Yeah.
and ideas.
And people want, if they want to, I've also gotten a lot of comments on my purple eyeshadow. People are like, what is that? So I can have a little section on there, and tell them what colors I'm wearing, stuff like that. My hair color. Yeah, just stuff like that.
Yeah, you're a reluctant influencer,
Very reluctant.
but very influential.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
But with that tagline, you told me you needed a tagline. You gave me all the details. We put that together. We can now tell people, I've secretly had a hand in your social media captions. I kind of
Yeah.
became like a ghostwriter because there was a lot of pressure the last 4 weeks. You had to post a lot of promotion for the Circle. You would send me the assets from Netflix. It would be a Dropbox folder with the photos, the videos, the GIFs from that week's batch of episodes, and we'd pick out what to post. We'd come up with clever captions. It was really fun.
It is fun, and I would love to engage more. Like I'm starting to ramp that up. Like I know
Yeah.
a lot of my Circle castmates have, but I also I think I'm one of the only ones with like a not like a real job, but like a one where I have to go to work and
You have to
like
go back to
focus
work. Yeah.
on my work for X amount of hours.
Yeah.
And so that's challenging. Like you need to put up a post, and I'm like, well, I can't because I'm, on a conference call for like, it's just,
Well, I've
that's
been
where
happy to help you. I've been happy to help
No,
you.
you've been
It's really
great.
fun. And yeah, we probably did together the last 50 something Instagram posts for the last few weeks.
I've never posted that much in my whole life.
Ever, right. But it would be funny. You'd send me the picture of the video and you'd say, need copy, please, which
And
means
wow, they
caption.
were with like the most amazing copy. I'm like, you need to like do this for a living.
I know. How do you monetize that? But I'm happy to help a friend. I became a little bit of a stage dad the last month, helping you
Yep.
become famous.
My mom, who's like not a stage mom at all. Yesterday, I told you the story. I went to In and Out. I'm like paying, and the sweet girl at the window was like, "Are you Lisa?" And I was like, "Yeah." And at first, I was like, "Wait, how did like that's weird?" And then she's like, "Lisa from the," and I was like, "Yep, from the Circle." I'm like, "Yeah." So she's asking me all these questions. We're holding up the line, whatever. It
It's
was
amazing.
She was adorable.
Did she give you free fries, free burger?
No, I did not get free food, but maybe had she been at the where I'm ordering, maybe, but
Right.
like she was my last stop I was picking up.
Oh,
And
got it.
so I was telling my mom about it because I just think it's so bizarre and like be everyone's so kind and like it's really nice. And my mom's like, "Well, I hope that you told her that you have your own podcast and like you need to keep like people, up to date on what you're doing." And I'm like, "Mom, all right."
Well, see, you can't help it. But also just tell them, follow me on Instagram and they'll find out what you're up to
Right.
there.
Right. It's a foreign thing to me still, so I'm
Totally.
still like,
Well, you were always celebrity adjacent. Like you were always with Lance when people would ask him for a photo, but you wouldn't be in it. Now you're the person they want the photo with. It's pretty interesting. It's
yeah,
fascinating.
it is, but I'm a lot shyer than him, so
Yeah.
that's weird.
Yeah, and
But
he's been
yeah,
doing
I'm
it since he
really
was
thankful for it.
yeah, Lance has been doing it since he was 16, so he's seasoned. But
Yes, very
but
seasoned.
you've been around it for the last 15 years, so it's not completely
Right.
shocking. You're just
Hmm.
not used to being the one making the cameo or
Yeah.
taking being in the photo, being getting recognized. But you have to think about it. 200 million subscribers to Netflix, number one show on Netflix. It's being seen by a lot of people.
Right. No, that's true. And it's great. I've gotten like messages from like fans of the show in Brazil, the UK,
So cool.
all over the United States, Canada. Like it's cool how many people it reaches.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And so your social media was always private, always. And you had like 1,000, Instagram followers who you knew in real life. You made your Instagram public on April 14th, the day the show premiered, because you couldn't tell anyone you were on it until that
Yeah.
day. And we watched your Instagram grow from 1,000 to 40,000 in just the 3 weeks the
I
show
think,
was airing. It's
yeah,
probably even more now.
I think I just checked and I have 42.2 thousand, which is crazy.
And
I'm
it's
like,
going to go up every day. By the time this airs, it'll be even more. And we were celebrating 10,000 for you because you could do the swipe up feature in the stories.
yes, that was the most like amazing part of
Yeah, especially with the fan favorite poll, you needed the swipe up. But next thing we know, you're at 40,000. And the TikToks, there's a TikTok of you and Lance that has 300,000 or 400,000 views,
yeah, that's
of you two.
'cause I'm very new to TikTok, like very new.
Right.
So that's been a whole thing, and I need to do more. It's really fun, but I don't think a lot of people realize, I certainly didn't realize, doing a TikTok's like a full-time job.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Keep them rolling and like to edit and to come up with the concept and like the props and
Yeah.
my hats are off to all those TikTok people that, make a living from it because it's not easy.
Yeah, well, some other things that have happened as a result of the circle. You were in People magazine, a story about you and Lance and the circle. You've been reading that since you were a kid. That
Yes,
was an
that was
amazing
so
moment. You had your own BuzzFeed list about the
oh, it
circle.
was amazing. I love BuzzFeed. So
What's your
that was
favorite website?
it's my favorite website. So that was an honor. I
An
was
honor.
crazy, crazy
So
full.
cool. You were on the cover, okay, front page of your hometown newspaper, the Everett Herald from Everett, Washington. It's an amazing picture of you.
Oh,
So
thank you.
happy in the picture. But the front page of the newspaper, I mean, come on.
My mom told me, she was like, you'll make the front page. And I'm like, okay, the front page is like hard news, like going on around the community or like whatever. And she was like, no, this girl that was on The Voice, um, she got the front page. And I was like, okay, but that's different. And then there I was. And I was like,
Front page, huge picture. It says Everett Woman on Netflix's The Circle. These all seem like bucket list items that got checked off one after the other in the course of 3 weeks. I mean, is
yeah.
that what it feels like? Bucket list items?
Yes, total. Well, the Herald definitely was bucket list.
Yeah.
People too, like because I have been reading that forever. But yeah, no, it's all been super cool.
Has it been surreal? Are you pinching
Yes,
yourself?
yes, and exhausting. Like I'm like exhausted, but in the best way.
Well,
You
I'm
know,
happy for
people
you. I
don't
think,
realize
yeah.
like when you do this for like like even being an assistant, like when we're on set and stuff, it takes a lot of energy because you have to you're presenting your best self, right?
Right.
So it's like and that's mentally taxing.
Right.
Or, like to be on is what I call it.
On. Yeah,
Even though
absolutely.
it is me, it's just a more heightened version of me. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's tiring and all the posting's tiring but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, I'm here to help if you need help with the social
Yes, I
media.
know. Yeah. We've been on a group chat since quarantine started.
Oh
So
yeah, since that
you and
day,
Marnie, like, you know,
we've
it's been,
gotten you through it, the whole
yes.
experience.
Yeah.
You even got recognized on a Delta Airlines flight. Can you tell that story
I,
quickly?
I went to I was on the flight and I went to the bathroom and I came back and there was like a postcard from the flight attendant and it was like circle message, we're really happy that Lisa's on the flight, like whatever. It said really nice things. And then it was like send. It was really cute.
It was written like a message on the circle. It was so clever.
It
And it
was,
said like from your flight leader, Amanda.
yeah. And oh, Amanda, she was just a love. Like, and we talked about the circle and that was fun.
I mean, it's been amazing in the course of not even a month. All of these incredible things have happened. Like Lance said, the world has gotten to see the real you, and you've been spreading joy and love and
Oh, thank you.
positivity. You've done it on the circle. You'll continue it with Laugh Out Loud with Lisa, the podcast,
Yep.
laughoutloudwithlisa.com, the blog. And, what's next? What do you think is next for you?
I don't know. I mean, I'll be with Lance till the day I die, I'm sure. So that I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just going to see my family soon.
And just
What
keep
else?
this going as much as
Yeah,
you can.
I'm gonna do the podcast, do the blog, and just like see what happens. Like
See where
I
it
have no
goes.
expectations, so got to keep them low.
Yeah. And then when you exceed them, it's,
Yeah, it's a double happy surprise.
yeah. Well, I think you've exceeded them with the circle for
Oh, thank
sure.
you.
Huge accomplishment. You did a great job. It was great TV. I loved watching it as
Oh,
your
great.
friend and as a viewer. It was great. I loved it. So
Yay.
congratulations
Thank you.
to you on that. And now let's bring Lance back and we will close out the show.
Okay.
Okay, so before we go, I always like to ask my guests, what advice do you have for someone who dreams of having a career like yours? So we'll start with Lance. It could be pop star, a host, an entrepreneur. What advice do you have for people?
Have great advisors around you. Always surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and in doing things that you want to do because it will rub off on you and they will pay it back. And find an entertainment lawyer, not just a regular lawyer, use an entertainment lawyer.
That is good advice. I like that. And Lisa, if somebody wants to be either a celebrity assistant or a reality star or both, what advice would you give them? How do they get started?
A celebrity assistant, there's agencies here that are great and they place a lot of people like me with people like Lance, but also like you have to be able to be quick on your feet and you have to be able to kind of be an extension of somebody. So
Right.
like really learn people skills. People skills are so key. Networking is really good because most people want an assistant they've already met before. So
Okay.
network. Yep.
And what about reality star? What advice would you have for someone who wants to do a reality
I
show?
mean, it's the circle was such a great experience. Like I can vouch for the circle. Like do the circle. It's so fun there. So lovely. Like the production team and casting team.
Yeah.
Other shows I can't speak on, but yeah, just give it a go. Like what do you have to lose? They say no. Like apply again and keep applying.
Right. You only live once. Now you have an amazing story to tell. It's so
Yeah.
cool. And as far as the celebrity assistant goes, you guys might be the rare example where you're also such good friends. I don't know. Everyone going into it can't always expect to be such close friends with their boss, right?
A lot of times the celebrity doesn't want to be close to
Right.
it, so it keeps, the job separate.
Yeah.
But,
Hard.
but
It's
you mean we couldn't. It's been over 15 years, of
yeah.
course.
But I
Of
think
course, you
that's
have to be friends at that point.
yeah, but I think that's why what you guys have is so special because you're also close friends. And, I've made so many friends through people you guys were friends with. Hopefully, vice versa, you've made friends with
Yeah,
people I'm friends with. And
definitely.
so everyone's gotten really close in the 15 years you've known each other, in the 15 years I've known you guys. We've shared a lot of life moments. And so you guys know this. The very last thing we do here at On the List is called the mystery question.
Oh yes.
And we did this, I've been doing it since episode 1. We did this episode 10, and then Lance borrowed it for the radio show, Dirty Pop, and it
It's
became
so fun.
the Gursky question, which I was
Yes.
honored. So what I so what I do is since episode 1, I've had the guest on the podcast leave a question for the next guest, and that's how I end each episode.
And they
So
don't know who the next guest is,
oh,
though.
they don't know who the guest is. They don't. No one knows the question except the person who sends it. Because of the pandemic, it's no longer in person, so I have people email it. I print it out. I don't read it. I seal it in an envelope.
Oh,
So here it is.
ooh.
The guest on my last podcast was Peter Facinelli, who
Oh,
was in,
Peter.
yeah, he was in one of my favorite movies ever, Can't Hardly
Mike
Wait,
Dexter.
as well as the
Twilight.
Mike Dexter as Twilight, of course. We all went to that premiere together, remember?
Yep,
Oh, we went straight from Dancing with the Stars, actually.
we did.
Twilight
We
premiere.
did.
So Peter emailed me a mystery question. I'm opening it for you guys. Episode
What is
66.
it?
I don't know. Let's see. It's from Peter Facinelli. If you could work with anyone, dead or alive, who would you want to work with?
I would say Lucille Ball. I think it would have been so incredible to produce a TV show or film for her. I would have died.
Yes, great answer. And that show is still funny. I don't know how they did it.
It lasts forever. It's incredible.
Timeless.
Yeah.
Great answer. What about
And
you?
like maybe who would I want to work for?
Or with?
Taylor Swift. Just because I think I could learn so much from her, just how she runs her business
She
and
seems
like
like she'd be a good boss.
yeah, and
Yeah.
she's so talented and sweet and like yeah, Taylor Swift for me.
Wow, great answer. Except we will not allow Taylor to steal you from Lance. That's
No, I think Taylor probably has assistants wanting to work with her, like none
yeah.
of it.
So if she's watching this, which of course she is, Taylor, she's not available.
Step off, Taylor.
Not
Step
available,
off.
Taylor.
So that is a wrap on episode 66. We did it. You guys.
Hey, congrats.
Thank you, Lance and Lisa, for being here. Everyone, check out Unicorn Hunters on Amazon. Check out The Circle Season 2 on Netflix. Thank you again to Lance. Thank you again to Lisa. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And in the words of NSYNC, can you guys give me a little bye, bye, bye to everybody?
Yeah.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye bye.
That was NSYNC. Perfect.
It was. It was.
Thank you again, guys. This was awesome. And
Yes.
thank you, everyone, for listening. I will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
I wanted to take a minute to talk about the sponsors of On the List: Hint Water, eBay, and Magic Spoon cereal. So first we've got Hint Water. I've got some of my favorite flavors right here. Here's the watermelon, the strawberry kiwi, raspberry, pineapple, and I also love the crisp apple, blood orange, lemon, pear, clementine. I love all the flavors. So what's really cool about Hint is that there's no sugar, no diet sweeteners, no calories, no preservatives, and it's non-GMO certified. It's also vegan, contains no nuts, no soy, no gluten, no MSG. And so Hint is offering home delivery when you sign up on the Hint website, drinkhint.com. And they're offering new customers 36 bottles for $36 if you use the code NEW36 at checkout, NEW36. So go to drinkhint.com and use the code NEW36 at checkout. And next we've got eBay. So if you like vintage sneakers as much as I do, eBay is the place for you. Here's a pair right here. Here's another pair right here. So what's cool about eBay is that they've got rare dead stock, but they've also got the latest releases, and you can find the exact pair that you're looking for on eBay. So it was actually the original sneaker marketplace, and it's still the place to go to get the pair you've been looking for. So eBay has an authenticity guarantee, and they also have a team of independent professional authenticators performing rigorous inspections of the sneakers that you purchase before they're sent to you. So you can shop confidently knowing that your pair is the real deal. And for sneaker sellers out there, eBay eliminated selling fees on sneakers over $100. So it's free to sell or flip your collection. Other sites take 25%, but eBay waived the fee. So check out ebay.com/sneakers today. And last but not least, Magic Spoon cereal. So Magic Spoon cereal is one of my favorite cereals. There it is right there. This is the peanut butter flavor. So, if you've tried to cut back on sugar or carbs or unhealthy foods in general, And Magic Spoon's the answer for you. So they've got frosted, blueberry, cocoa. I mix the cocoa with the peanut butter, so you have peanut butter and chocolate. I also mix the frosted with the blueberry. And they've also got a fruity flavor. And everyone I've told Magic Spoon about has gotten hooked on it. So the best thing about Magic Spoon cereal, besides the fact that it tastes so good, is 0 sugar. No sugar at all, even though it tastes great. It's also low carb, only 3 grams, so it's keto friendly. And it's high in protein, 11 grams per serving. So it's got everything you need, and it excludes all the stuff you don't, and it's just really good. So if you go to magicspoon.com/Brett, Brett, you can make your own variety pack of 4 flavors. You can choose from frosted, blueberry, fruity, cocoa, peanut butter, and whatever new flavors they have to offer. Then just use the code BRETT, BRETT, at checkout for free shipping. So go to magicspoon.com/Brett and then use the code BRETT, BRETT, at checkout for free shipping. And I will see you guys next time.